when the cycle of reincarnation invades. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Sweat more in peacetime and bleed less in war. The two of them were like a turtle looking at a mung bean, and they were attracted to each other. Just as Raymond said, after becoming a reincarnationist, the configuration of teammates will be different depending on the secret realm you want to enter. So it is better to make friends with some reincarnationists you like in advance than to not find suitable teammates when the time comes. Lei Jun didn't care what system Lin Bean strengthened. He was attracted by Lin Bean's insightful observation. To be honest, if he hadn't experienced it himself, he really couldn't imagine that someone could deduce the truth of the matter from such a small amount of evidence. This is too far-fetched. But he can do it. He couldn't refuse to accept it. Naturally, Lin Bean didn't explain to him that he had successfully practiced the eternal life secret. Again, it was too fast. For more than half a month, Lin Bean almost didn't sleep, didn't eat or drink, and lived completely on oxygen. In just over 10 days, he had successfully practiced the eternal life secret and nurtured a warm and moist true ki in his body. Although it was only a stream of true ki, it also took into account the unique characteristics of the 7 pages of eternal life secret. It can be yin or yang, or ice or fire. Lin Bean felt that whoever became his confidant in the future would be extremely happy. He could make her fly to the 9th heaven without the help of props. Thanks to the benefits of stimulating potential brought by eternal life secret, he had no foundation before. Although he followed Taoist Simu to study the art of divine descent, he only remembered the theory and could not practice successfully. Now he has succeeded. The art of divine descent is not that complicated. The so-called asking the ancestors to possess the body is just a kind of spiritual suggestion. Through self-hypnosis with specific formulas, all of one's own spirit, energy, and spirit are transformed into ki to improve combat power. Lin Bean could not practice successfully before because he had no ki in his body. Although the current immortal true ki is completely different from Taoist Simu's ki, it is not impossible to use it. It's just that the external performance effect is different. Anyway, with the blessing of the secret of immortality and the art of divine descent, Lin Bean is not as harmless as he appears. Of course, there is no need to be like a peacock, showing off how powerful and awesome he is whenever he sees someone. No matter how powerful Lin Bean is, he is just a newcomer. If the sky falls, the taller ones have to support it first. Therefore, he works hard to cultivate his image as a cute newcomer. By the way, Abin, when are you going to enter the secret realm next? Wait until 2 months have passed. Lin Bean hasn't eaten for more than half a month. Although he is not hungry at all due to the spiritual energy entering his body, his instinct as a human creature still makes him salivate the moment he sees these delicacies. While eating meat, he did not forget to instruct the waiter. Waiter, please prepare another serving of fried shrimp with cashews, vegetarian seasonal vegetables, sweet and sour pork tenderloin, and steamed sea bass for me. I want to take it away. Yes. The waiter went down very respectfully. He then replied to Lei Jun, anyway, when I enter the secret realm again, I should be at the ordinary level. I will have more confidence every day I spend now, and I will be safer in it. This was said sincerely. The immortal ki can spontaneously absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into the body, helping him cleanse his bones and marrow almost all the time. The entry is to return to the innate from the acquired, which makes Lin Bean's progress far beyond the imagination of normal people. Especially the magic of eternal life secret is brought into full play by Lin Bean. Lei Jun is a big man and can't notice it, but during this period of time, Zukain once secretly asked Lin Bean what brand of skincare products he used. Otherwise, how come his skin is getting better and better? If you exchange B-level merits, wouldn't you be able to kill everyone in the ordinary secret realm? Of course, it's good to earn more reincarnation points in the low-level secret realm, but everything has its pros and cons. If your strength is too strong, but you are still hanging around in the low-level dungeons, it is very likely that you will delay your golden period of progress. Lei Jun's tone is quite deep. Of course, in his opinion, it is natural to instruct his younger brother. He said, I advise you to hurry up and become a transcendent reincarnationist. Then we brothers can team up to travel the secret realm. Lin Bin asked, how can I become a transcendent reincarnationist? You need to apply for an assessment and then successfully pass through 3 secret realms beyond your own level with your own strength. For example, if you want to become a transcendent reincarnationist, you need to pass through 3 adventure level secret realms, and all of them must reach B level or above. If you want to become a saint level reincarnationist, you need to pass through 3 killing level secret realms. Of course, the higher the level, the greater the restrictions, and there will be some additional conditions, but it's roughly the same. Lei Jun waved his hand and said, in fact, strictly speaking, there are 5 levels and 3 tests, but the 5 levels are basically political review, background, family background and other examinations. If you can become a reincarnationist, there will be no problem, so the difficulty lies in these 3 secret realms. If you encounter a bad teammate, you won't know how to cry. Then my killing level secret realm this time. So congratulations, brother Abin. Lei Jun joked, you haven't become a transcendent reincarnator yet, but you have already passed 1/3 of the saint level assessment. Lin Bin also joked, congratulations, brother Lei, you have also completed 1/3 of the assessment. The problem is that you have to wait for my review to pass. Lei Jun wanted to cry, but had no tears, although you have fully cooperated. Alas, I don't expect my B level merit to come back now. Just get rid of the F level evaluation. I really didn't hang up. I can testify, right? Speaking of this, he felt wronged again. The alcohol was rising. He took a big gulp and said, thank you very much, otherwise I wouldn't even be qualified to appeal. It's all my fault. Lin Bin continued to eat. Lei Jun began to drink sadly. By the time they separated, Lei Jun was already completely drunk. But he was a good drinker, and he didn't delay the bill, no matter how much he drank, and he also gave Lin Bin a recharge. After the two separated, Lin Bin returned to his home, and continued to meditate and practice the eternal life secret. He had 2 C-level merits left, and he hadn't decided what to exchange for them. According to his original intention, he wanted to follow the old path of Xuanglang. There is no doubt that the martial arts that the author arranged for the 2 protagonists are definitely quite compatible with the eternal life secret. But the problem is that martial arts can also be divided into high and low levels. Xuanglang's martial arts are either very high end, which 2 C-level merits can't exchange for at all, or very low end, which Lin Bin doesn't like. Then just practice with peace of mind. Anyway, there is still enough time to think about it. The difficulty of ordinary secret realms is limited after all. For a long time afterwards, Lin Bin went to work during the day, or was a salary thief. He spent most of his time in the shooting room. After firing 200 bullets, he couldn't even lift his arms when he got off work. But now with the warm nourishment of the immortal true key, he can easily fire 400 bullets. The killing power of the money sword to living people is basically zero. The compass is an auxiliary equipment. The only weapon he has is the Desert Eagle Shura. As the saying goes, the gun is fast at 7 steps away. Within 7 steps, the gun is fast and accurate. If he can master this gun, he will undoubtedly be able to kill people in the real secret realm. After all, there are no restrictions in the secret realm. Even in the martial arts plane, guns, ammunition, grenades, and landmines are not limited. Everything is for passing the level. It is stupid to limit yourself. As his physique gradually improved, Raymond seemed to see something. He didn't ask anything, but in addition to practicing the gun, he specially hired a professional fighter at public expense to practice with him to improve his combat power. Raymond's consideration is very simple. For long-range combat, there is a weapon like the Desert Eagle Shura, which is basically enough, as long as you don't go to the exclusive technological plane. If the enemy gets close to him, with Lin Bin's weak physique and the weak eternal life secret, he can't expect to win. Just protect himself. Therefore, Take-I, which is mainly based on entanglement and unloading, is quite suitable for him. A lot of knowledge in the reincarnation space can be obtained through teaching, so there is no need to consume reincarnation points. Like Bajiquan, Wing Chun, Harlequin, take eye, etc. Even if you are not a reincarnation, you have the opportunity to practice. This is not the dance in the previous life. These martial arts from the secret space are real national martial arts killing skills. Just like the master who taught Lin Bin take eye, one Ruanan. Others don't know. How can Lin Bin not know her origins? Therefore, knowing that the other party is real, he studied very seriously. Lin Bin understands that compared with normal reincarnations, his foundation is much shallower. Although the secret of immortality can give him an advantage in physique, after years of training, he can't catch up with those normal people in terms of fighting skills. Therefore, he needs to work harder. Chapter 27 You're heartbroken. Please read and collect. In the blink of an eye, more than a month has passed. Lin Bin is still working hard, but his master has changed from one Ruanan to one Zhonghua. There is no other reason. With the continuous improvement of his innate true ki, Lin Bin can now almost be praised as a peerless martial arts genius. One Ruanan himself is limited by his physique, and his strength is not bad, but it is only good. However, he was completely squeezed dry by Lin Bin in a month, and no more water could be squeezed out. On the contrary, one Zhonghua was happy to see the prey. After a deep discussion with Lin Bin, he officially accepted him as a disciple, and taught him the essence of take eye. In the process, Lin Bin also understood one Zhonghua's fate. The secret realm they are in did not appear in China, but in the Free Federation. And over there, the attitude towards these aliens is naturally different from that of China, with extreme rejection and suppression. Even if the secret realm has been uncontrollably integrated into the Free Federation, and the arrival of aliens has become a reality, they still divide the aliens in that secret realm into different levels. People like Wan Zhonghua are naturally the lowest inferiors. He suffered a lot of humiliation in the Free Federation, and spent several years in misery. In the end, he was extradited back by China at a great cost. Because of this, he was grateful for China's kindness. Of course, it may also be because the country he lived in before was almost 90% similar to China. Wan Zhonghua took the initiative to hand over all his martial arts and became the owner of the Chinese Teikai Cultural Heritage Martial Arts Hall. For several years, he taught everyone without distinction. As long as the character and qualifications were qualified, he would never hide anything. Almost more than 30% of the martial arts enhanced reincarnations have received his guidance. Therefore, although he is just mediocre in terms of absolute strength, and may not even be able to enter the extraordinary realm, many reincarnations who have entered the holy realm treat him as a teacher. This is also the main reason why Lin Bin was able to learn take eye. It is not the take eye in the exchange list, which requires a B-level merit plus a large number of reincarnation points to exchange, which is unfathomable and difficult for ordinary people to guess. Instead, it is a national martial arts that abandons all artistic conception and simply uses the skills to the extreme. Time passed day by day. Lin Bin's life was full and rich. His shooting skills were not very accurate. Even if he aimed for a long time, he could not hit the target every time. The buffering of recoil was not so easy to adapt to, but whether it was a long distance run or an intense exercise, he could always keep his aim within a certain degree. Take eye improved very quickly. The pure force of skills made him adapt very quickly. And although Wan Zhonghua's take eye was not the profound take eye of ancient times, it was also a very powerful martial art. If you want to exchange it, I'm afraid you need at least 2D level merits. With the idea that learning it is taking advantage, Lin Bin practiced very hard. Combined with the Changsheng Zenki, the rapid progress made Wan Zhonghua call it a natural talent. When one Ruanan fought with him now, he was basically entangled by him and couldn't find a chance to turn the tables. This was also the limitation of take eye. The lethality was not enough, but for Lin Bin, it was enough. In addition to the daily enrichment, Lin Bin also keenly noticed the changes in Beishu City. The atmosphere was much more solemn. First, the old men and women who used to dance square dances in the streets, but turned into Lin Dai's brother Bao in a second. When they got on the bus stopped making noise. Lin Zhu was quite disappointed. After moving, the height of the 18th floor made her particularly like watching the old ladies dancing downstairs. At this height, the loudspeakers could not disturb her, but she could still see clearly. Looking at the lively crowd, it was much better than waiting for the sun to come out through the gap before. But Lin Bin was really happy. After practicing the eternal life secret, his ears and eyes became sharp. He could even hear the sound of the neighbors playing poker next door, and he could also infer their postures at the time, based on their rhythm. The loudspeakers downstairs really disturbed him. Now that they disappeared, he was naturally happy. After chatting with Lin Zhu, he suddenly understood. Lin Zhu looked at Lin Bin with a complicated look in her eyes. She asked, "Are you really not going to take the college entrance examination this time?" Lin Bin realized it belatedly. Oh, right. It's time for the college entrance examination. Not long ago, he was still preparing for the college entrance examination. But during this period of time, his life was so fulfilling that he almost forgot about it. There's nothing I can do. I've already been recommended for admission, and the exam has nothing to do with me. Lin Bin sighed with a little regret. How could he not regret it? He had also prepared for the college entrance examination for more than 10 years, but at the last moment, he was suddenly told that you don't have to take the exam, and we decided to make an exception to admit you. Anyone would feel regretful. Wait a minute. Lin Zhu sat on the newly bought electric wheelchair and awkwardly manipulated the wheelchair into the house. When he came out, he put a dagger in his hand. Lin Bin asked, "What does this mean?" "It feels like you're likely to get beaten for saying this. At least holding a weapon when you go out can be a deterrent, right?" "Don't worry, I'm not the kind of person who wanders around. I'm receiving training from the company recently. I'm busy like a dog every day. How can I have time to go out to Versailles?" Lin Bin pushed the dagger away. Prepare to go back to the room to continue meditating. College entrance examination? It should have nothing to do with him now. What he needs to consider now is the next experience in the secret realm. 3 hours, 12 minutes and 46 seconds. There are only 3 days left in 2 months. For normal reincarnationists, 2 months is enough for them to thoroughly digest the gains in the reincarnation space. But for Lin Bin, 2 months. 2 years is not enough. Time is not enough. The important learning materials in the computer hard drive have not been touched for almost 2 months. He was so busy that he had no time to masturbate. College entrance examination? It feels like something from the last life. No, it has been more than 10 years since the last life. I just thought it had nothing to do with me. But the next day, Lin Bin received a call from teacher Beiji. "Lin Bin, do you still want your completion certificate? You have really made progress. You haven't called me once in these few months. Do you know that I have been worried about your situation?" "Teacher Bei?" Lin Bin was stunned when he heard the voice, and a bit of joy appeared on his face. He smiled and said, "I'm sorry, Teacher Bei, I've been too busy recently. There are so many things to learn. I even have to time my bathroom visits." "I understand. As a student of arts, you have joined the martial arts class to become a reincarnationist. You must have a lot of things to learn." The other party just complained, and her tone returned to the gentleness of the past. She whispered, "But it's really hard for you to become a reincarnationist. To be honest, when I saw the list of reincarnationists admitted by Hengyang High School in the principal's office, I saw your name and thought I had made a mistake. I was really shocked." "Well, I was shocked. I'm sorry, Teacher Bei. I just think it seems like showing off to report to you specially, and you don't think becoming a reincarnationist is a happy thing, right?" Knowing Teacher Bei's background, Lin Bin was full of pity for her. Even his tone was unconsciously softer. Beiji said softly, "Every student has his or her own ideal. It doesn't mean that becoming an astronaut, teacher, or policeman is a lofty ideal, nor does it mean that wanting to be a worker, repairing cars or doing business is a failure. Everyone's ideal is worthy of respect. You want to be a reincarnator. Even if I don't agree, I support you, because this is your own life. I can only cheer you up at most. How can I make the decision for you?" "Thank you, Teacher Bei." "Don't thank me yet. I have a big thing here that needs your help. It depends on whether you give me this face." "Teacher Bei, you said that, as long as I can do it, I will never refuse." Lin Bin said seriously, "Although it didn't work, you made up for 2 months of study for me. I have always remembered this kindness, and was worried that I would not have the chance to repay you." Lin Zhu next to him tapped Lin Bin lightly, and forced the dagger into his arms. Use your eyes to signal him that, if you can't speak, just say less. You hurt your heart this time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28, You're a Bastard If You Don't Make Money. Hengyang High School, the place where Lin Bin's 3 years of memories are gathered. Revisiting the old place, Lin Bin didn't feel nostalgic, but felt that these 3 years were really wasted. If he were given 3 years now, he would be sure to master the Eternal Life Secret directly. The 7 chapters of Eternal Life Secret are practiced together, starting from the innate, which is equivalent to letting a person with great martial arts to practice the skills, and the progress must be different from that of ordinary people. But think about it. How much time is wasted? Just like in the previous life, 6 years of elementary school, 3 years of junior high school, 3 years of high school, and 4 years of college. As a result, he was unemployed after graduation. It seems that he has gained nothing, as if more than 10 years of time have not had any effect, but in fact, these more than 10 years of experience have long been engraved on him, and become a part of him. Lin Bin walked through the familiar campus, and went straight to Beiji's exclusive office. He knocked on the door gently and called, "Teacher Bei, come in." Inside the room, Beiji was leaning over the desk, and writing the copy seriously. She was wearing a grey skirt suit today, with her slender legs wrapped in black stockings crossed, and this posture made her buttocks look even fuller. She wore a dark blue slim-fitting shirt with 9-point sleeves on her upper body, with lace decoration on her chest to cover her proud curves, and a small suit as a coat casually draped over the backrest of her office chair. As a teacher, if she dresses too sexy, it will cause some male students to have unnecessary fantasies, so Teacher Beiji's clothes have always been formal. But sometimes, too formal attire will make people have improper thoughts. This kind of attire is too intellectual. Lin Bin couldn't help but pause for a moment, and then he returned to normal. When Beiji saw Lin Bin, her eyes also lit up. She exclaimed, "You have grown up after leaving the campus. I haven't seen you for 2 months. You have matured so much, and you are much more handsome. If the teacher hadn't been divorced, I would have pursued you, even if I was 10 years older than you. If I really wanted to pursue you, I wouldn't care whether I was divorced or not." Lin Bin said, "Teacher Bei, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I thought you would think I was meddling." Beiji smiled and said, "After all, your becoming a reincarnation has nothing to do with the school, but now the school wants to use your name for publicity. It's a waste not to make money. They give me money and I help them advertise. This is the natural thing." Lin Bin smiled and said, "Besides, although I have become a reincarnation, I'm just a newcomer after all, and my wallet is still tight. So if someone is willing to give me financial assistance, I would actually be very grateful." Lin Bin already knew the meaning of Beiji contacting him. It was really not just because of her personal relationship with him. It was really an annual practice. After high school, all students will be separated. Some will go to university to continue their studies. Some will choose to graduate directly and then enter the society early. The most outstanding ones will become reincarnationists or logistics personnel working in the Reincarnation Space Association. Just like the doctor of the Reincarnation Association that Lin Bin met before, he was affiliated with the logistics department. To become a reincarnationist or a logistics personnel of the Reincarnation Association, one must be the most outstanding student. In Lin Bin's previous life, it was almost equivalent to being admitted to Peking University and Tsinghua University. This naturally adds a lot of glory to the school. Therefore, the high school arranges these talents as seniors of the year every year, to return to their alma mater, to give speeches to those younger students. And as a reward, the school will give generous financial thanks. It can be regarded as a fair and reasonable transaction. Of course, this cannot be said openly. It should be a kind and gentle teacher and a hard-working student who loves to study. The so-called reward must also be named as a student aid fund. But those who understand will understand. And those who don't understand. In fact, these propaganda is for those who don't understand. Anyway, with these promotional videos, the enrollment in the second year will basically achieve an explosive growth, which can be regarded as a win-win situation. Although Lin Bin still has more than 1,000 reincarnation points, the reason why he has not exchanged them yet is because the merits and reincarnation points are too few. If he rashly exchanges for some low-level martial arts or skills, they may be directly abandoned after a short transition. He thought about training in the ordinary secret realm twice more, accumulating enough merits, and then exchanging for a method that can be used for a long time. In this case, he naturally cannot use these reincarnation points easily. Beiji found him. He was actually very happy. I feel relieved when you say that. Beiji handed him a manuscript and said, "This is the manuscript of your speech that you will give later. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, all the students will gather in the auditorium, and you will read it according to the manuscript. You will get a bonus of 200,000 yuan when you finish it." She winked at Lin Bin playfully and smiled. "Don't worry, everyone's pay is the same, but your manuscript is the shortest, so in a sense, your word rate is the highest. Then I would like to thank Teacher Bei for his care. By the way, Teacher Bei, to thank you for your care over the years, I will treat you to a simple meal at Zuoyu Tower tonight." "No thanks, you are no longer my student, and you are of the opposite sex to me. What if someone sees me going out with you and laughs at me for being an old cow eating young grass?" Beiji smiled and said, "Forget it. If you can remember my words, when you achieve something in the future, if the teacher asks you for something, even if you don't do it, don't let me get the cold shoulder. I will be satisfied. Besides, Zuoyu is not cheap. I know you can afford it now, but you still have to save some money. The main reason is that I just made a good friend recently, a lifelong friend. He helped me to top up 100,000 yuan in the restaurant in one go. Now the money can't be withdrawn, but if I go to eat, how many meals will I have to eat to make up for it?" Lin Bin said worriedly. "I was just joking with him. If I had known that he couldn't stand jokes, I might as well ask him to give me a discount directly." Okay, then I'll make an exception and help you solve it. The teacher's salary is not that high. Since I came to this world, I haven't been to such a high-end restaurant." Lin Bin smiled and said, "There are plenty of delicious food. If you are not satisfied, we can pack it up and take it back." Facing this teacher who had lent a helping hand to her countless times when he was in the most difficult times, he always had a little respect in his heart. Because of his psychological age, it was difficult for him to treat Lin Zhu as his sister. They were more like brothers and sisters who depended on each other and were equal. But when facing Teacher Bei, he felt she seemed to be his sister. The two chatted for a while. Knowing that Beiji still had things to do, Lin Bin said goodbye to her after agreeing to meet in the auditorium at 2 p.m. on the grounds that he wanted to see the scenery of the school again. He pushed the door and left. Just walked out of the room. A strong wind hit him. With a strange cry. "Fuck, I actually saw a living person today." "Lin Bin, you just left as soon as you said you would. You really didn't treat us classmates as classmates, right?" Sudden attack. Lin Bin was lucky to be blasted out with a moving hammer. It was when he heard that familiar voice. He felt an inexplicable warmth in his heart. Sure enough, although he was just a small transparent character in the class, he still had close friends. "Asshole, even if you drop out of school and run away to the ends of the earth, you can't run away with the 12 meals of ramen you owe me. I'm telling you, if you treat me to a meal again, I will not only eat your ramen, I will also add eggs. Do you believe it? Lin Bin, please vote for me and recommend me. I can't wait to add more." Chapter 29, Youthful Years. Please collect. This seemingly intimate person is called Wei Yang. He is Lin Bin's deskmate. In every class, there are some people who are particularly outstanding in some aspects. For example, the sleepy god who is particularly sleepy, the book god who loves to read extracurricular books, the brother god who likes to sing and always copies lyrics on books, the handsome god who is handsome and pursued by all the girls, and so on. Wei Yang is undoubtedly the book god of their class 7 of grade 3. He was once called by the teacher to answer questions because he browsed pornographic books in class, and he directly overturned the desk and became famous. Lin Bin is a sleepy god and a handsome god. There is no other. There are too many things to do at home, and after finishing the daily homework, there is not enough sleep time. Therefore, he can only make up for the lessons during class time. As deskmates, the two are both god-level figures in the class, so their friendship is naturally much deeper than that of others. Linbin was surprised and asked, "Why are you here? I should ask you this question. Since you left, I have been so lonely that I could only focus on studying. As a result, I scored over 300 points. I'm here to receive a scholarship." Over 300? Scholarship? Linbin really couldn't connect the two together. At this time, Uhui, a girl with long and smooth hair, explained, his father donated a building to Hengyang High School and East China University in his name, so he was recommended for admission. The exam was just a formality. As a top student of East China University, he can theoretically receive a scholarship, but it is impossible for him to give a speech on stage. "I can't help it. My father is stupid and has a lot of money. Of course, I have to try my best to recover the loss." Wei Yang said, "No matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. I have to help my family save money." Uhui ignored Wei Yang. She just looked at Linbin with a complicated look in her eyes. There seemed to be resentment of being disappointed with someone, and there seemed to be a hint of disdain and superiority. She said, "I didn't expect that you, Linbin, actually gave up the college entrance examination. It's just that I'm not interested in it." Linbin smiled and said, "It's impossible for everyone to go to college and sit in an office, right? Someone has to do the dirty work. Why can't that person be me?" "Well, yes. Anyway, no matter what the future holds, we will all be friends in the future." The girl smiled a little distant. Her words were already full of courtesy. Wei Yang smiled disdainfully and said, "That's right. We will all be friends in the future. If there is anything I can do for you in the future, Uhui, don't turn your face against me and pretend not to know me. By the way, Abin, you may not know that Uhui didn't go to college either. She was specially recruited into the logistics management level of the reincarnation space. She will be a superior person in the future." Linbin smiled and said, "Congratulations." No wonder. This Uhui was very persistent with him before. In the 3 years of high school, they were deskmates for almost 2 years, and she bribed everyone who sat next to Linbin. But later, Wei Yang suddenly appeared, and Linbin, who liked to sleep, lay on the table, which was almost the best cover for him to peek at extracurricular books. Therefore, Uhui could not buy Wei Yang off, so she could only sit behind him with grievance. Similarly, she pursued him for 3 whole years. But after the special recruitment, the situation was naturally different. Before graduation, everyone still decided their preferences based on appearance and personality. But after graduation, when they became adults, family background became the most important indicator. And Linbin, who gave up the college entrance examination and had a poor family background, was obviously her stain. I'm afraid Uhui was already feeling lucky that she didn't get him. "Are you all here to get the prize money?" Linbin's eyes swept over these people. In addition to Wei Yang and Uhui, there were 3 or 4 others. One of them was slightly taller than him, at least 1.85 meters tall, a sunny boy. Linbin recognized him as Deng Yang, a celebrity in the school basketball team, but compared to his basketball skills, his record of changing 17 girlfriends in 3 years was more worthy of praise. The other 2 young boys and girls seemed to be a couple. They were whispering to each other and never looked at Linbin. Yes, you may not know yet, Deng Yang has successfully passed the assessment and became a trainee reincarnator. Our Hengyang High School hasn't had a reincarnator for 3 years, so of course we have to invite him to give a speech. Uhui smiled and said, "I have already made an appointment with Deng Yang. He will be responsible for training in the reincarnation space, and I will team up with him to do his logistics work. We are all from the same school, so we can take care of each other and have a better understanding." She seemed eager to distance herself from Linbin. While speaking, her eyes fell on Deng Yang's face from time to time, as if she was afraid that he would misunderstand. Linbin hummed indifferently. Wei Yang hummed softly and asked, "Abin, are you going to the Great Hall?" Linbin said, "It's a little too early to go now. I want to take a walk around the school." "That's right. After all, this is where I've lived for 3 years. Let's go for a walk together. Okay. Linbin smiled politely at Hui and walked out with Wei Yang arm in arm. Just after turning the corner, Wei Yang spitted with disdain and said, "This woman wanted to stick to you at the beginning, but now she has entered the Reincarnation Association and looks down on people with dog eyes. Abin, you were right not to agree to her pursuit at the beginning. No, it's really wrong. For this kind of woman, you should play with her for 3 years, make her pregnant, and then let her carry a burden for the rest of her life, and can't find a good husband. Okay, it's not worth it. Have you seen me pay attention to her in the past 3 years? I didn't take her seriously. In the past 3 years, whether before or after awakening, Linbin has never had the idea of falling in love early. Although this age is the age of steel and iron, and indomitable. But it is a luxury for young people to say that they like someone, and it is even more of a waste to say that they love someone. Linbin does not want to be involved in a relationship that is destined to have no results. Not to mention that high school students are not very scheming, and he can see what kind of person Hui is at a glance. Wei Yang shook his head and said, "Forget it, let's not talk about this spoil sport. Let's go, I'll invite you to the rooftop to smoke." Linbin said, "Let's not do it, quit it." "Really? My sister can't stand the smell of smoke." "You have a sister?" Wei Yang said angrily. "We have known each other for so many years, and you didn't even tell me that you actually have a sister? I wanted to introduce my sister to you before. You. Linbin smiled and said, "Sorry, my sister also can't stand ugly people." "Linbin, you are so presumptuous." The two talked and laughed. It seemed to have returned to the green days, when he covered him reading, and he fanned him. The campus is not big, but every place is full of memories of all of them. Talking about the experiences of the past 3 years, laughing at each other's embarrassing moments, they surprisingly had endless topics to talk about. Linbin and Wei Yang both understood that school friendships are very strong, because they are unforgettable memories of a lifetime. But school friendships are also fragile. After graduation, as they embark on different lives, they will have less and less common language. It's all good to miss each other, but when they really meet, they will find that, even if they miss each other in their hearts, they no longer have a common language. They can only chew on their past common experiences thousands of times, but each time they taste weaker. A real meeting is not as good as missing each other. Let's go, it's almost time. Let's go to the Great Hall. Linbin suddenly looked at the time on his phone and said, "Go to hell, I don't want to see that woman on the stage with a pure face saying nonsense like everyone must study hard in high school to live up to their youth. Her youth has been spent on you, and you just throw it away like that." Wei Yang said impatiently, "I don't even want to go." "Why are you going?" "Linbin, I have to give a speech." "Oh, then I have to go." "Wait, what did you say?" Wei Yang looked at Linbin in shock. Linbin spread his hands helplessly and said, "Actually, I'm here to get the scholarship as well. I'm a reincarnationist, so naturally I have to go on stage to speak." You are also a reincarnationist?" Wei Yang was confused and said, "Then why didn't you say it just now? Do I need to hang a sign around my neck saying that I'm a reincarnationist? Besides, I don't take that woman seriously, so why should I explain it to her specifically?" Linbin said seriously, "For me, the prize money is the most important. For the scholarship, let alone going to see that woman, even if the auditorium is full of ugly women weighing 300 pounds dancing square dance, I have to go and see them." Wei Yang. Chapter 29 has been reviewed, which is so strange. I wrote it very plainly, mainly because today is the weekend and the editors are not at work. Sigh. Let's wait for it to be reviewed. Chapter 30, Secret Realm Blocking the Door. To sum up, as long as everyone works hard enough and chooses a platform that suits them best, then no matter who they are, they can become a better person. Efforts need to rely on themselves. If you choose Hengayang as a platform, the future will definitely be strong. Accompanied by deafening applause, Linbin's face was full of smiles. Although he couldn't help but complain that Teacher Bei was very qualified as a math teacher, his literary talent was really not very good. How could the advertising slogan he wrote be the same as a certain Zhang in his previous life? However, 200,000 yuan was enough to exchange for Lin Bin's unwilling smile for a whole day. It's just that he smiled brightly on the stage, and the faces of Deng Yang and Uhui, who were already in the back, had changed a little. Especially Uhui. She used to like Lin Bin very much, but the other party never took her seriously. So, after she became a better self, looking back at the person she once admired, it was no longer the yearning before, but a deep contempt. Don't you look down on me? But now I'm standing in a distance that you can't reach. Do you regret your neglect of me? Do you really want to beg me to look at you again? She couldn't help wanting to see him regret, but compared to regret, she wanted to see him down and out, to see him in poverty, instead of being like this. Alas, who could have known that he wasn't here to get a certificate of completion, but to receive a scholarship? But if you think about it carefully, if he really came to get a certificate of completion, how could he arrive at the same time as us? No wonder he didn't take the college entrance examination. It turns out that he had been specially recruited into the reincarnation space a long time ago. Wen Yang had a playful smile on his face and kept clapping. He didn't look away, but his voice was heard clearly by Uhui next to him. Uhui, you really broke up with him too quickly. Otherwise, if you become his exclusive logistics, wouldn't it be better than being Deng Yang's? Uhui's face instantly became extremely complicated. And the one with an even uglier face was Deng Yang next to him, because he really saw the hesitation on Uhui's face. One sentence offended two people. Wen Yang laughed smugly. He was only 18 years old this year, full of youthful vigor, but he could never be as calm as Lin Bin, who could completely ignore being looked down upon. Or, he simply didn't take them seriously. He suddenly admired Lin Bin a little. Half an hour later, in the principal's office, Principal Crossing of Hengyang High School laughed heartily. He praised, "Ha, well done, very good, especially you, Lin Bin, your voice is really inspiring. I believe that with your publicity, the enrollment of Hengyang High School next year will definitely be greatly improved." He couldn't help but praise. In order to invite these 6 or 7 proud students in the school to give speeches and make graduation summaries, a lot of money was spent. But it was all public money. But if the school's enrollment scale can be greatly increased, it would be his achievement. Spending public money to do your own business. Is there anything more enjoyable than this? Therefore, he didn't feel bad at all. He handed the boxes representing the bonuses to everyone one by one. Especially when it came to Lin Bin. He shook his hand fiercely and said that he must come back to his alma mater often in the future. As an old man, compared with Deng Yang's awkward words and deeds when facing the crowd, and the stereotyped reading style speech, it seems that Lin Bin, who is mature and knows how to advance and retreat, is not afraid of the stage even in front of thousands of people, and can speak with emotion, and is more valued by him. More importantly, he cooperates. However, the principal's special regard for him obviously stimulated Deng Yang. As the pride of the campus, the only one in 3 years who passed the martial arts assessment and became a trainee reincarnationist, he should have been the center of everyone's attention. Including this speech, he should have been the absolute protagonist. But after Lin Bin showed up, he felt that he seemed to be ignored. The principal's regard for him was extremely obvious, and the teacher Beiji next to him was even more gratified, as if it was her own brother who had achieved such an achievement. Uhui, who had promised to be his logistics support, had a complicated expression, and seemed to have some regret and annoyance. The girl in the previous couple also looked at him with a brilliant look in her eyes. Okay, the deal has been reached, the money and goods are settled, and I'm going home. Deng Yang obviously knew that it was not worth offending Lin Bin for such a small matter. The other party was also a reincarnation after all. Making an enemy because you were jealous that he was more popular than yourself? What a joke. We are not kindergarten children. But he just didn't like that he naturally became the core of everyone as soon as he appeared. Deng Yang patted the money in the suitcase with disdain and said, "And my achievements today are entirely due to my own efforts and the training of more than a dozen professional coaches my father hires for me every year, and a close relationship with the school." And Lin Bin, right? I heard that you used to be a liberal arts student. I don't know how you became a reincarnation, but the secret realm is not so easy to deal with. As he said that, He picked up the cash box, opened the door and left. Alas, he became famous at a young age and was too arrogant. That's why I always thought that reincarnationists should not make decisions right after graduating from high school, but should wait until they have finished college. But the golden growth period for reincarnationists is just when they become adults. Alas. The principal sighed regretfully. He smiled and said, "Forget it, ignore him. Classmate Lin, I heard that your family is in a difficult situation. I hope this money can help you. And remember to come back to your alma mater often in the future. This will always be your home. Thank you, Principal Gao. Teacher Bei takes such good care of me. I will definitely not forget her in the future." Lin Bin glanced at Beiji. The principal suddenly said, "Oh," and smiled. "I thought your growth was entirely due to your own merits. I didn't expect that Teacher Bei had the insight to recognize your talent." "Teacher Bei, how did you see that classmate Lin Bin was different?" Beiji said politely. "I didn't see that he was different from others. I just felt that we shouldn't let a good seedling grow crooked. Who knew that he would actually become a reincarnation? Ha 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 ha. Being a teacher requires Teacher Bei's spirit of not leaving anyone behind. Well, our Hengyang High School's Dean of Studies will retire in half a year, and it's time for newcomers to train. Director Bei, I think you are very suitable. But I'm not qualified enough, I'm afraid." "Don't worry, it's just a professional title. You have educated such an outstanding student like Lin Bin, who dares to say that you are not qualified enough." "Thank you, Principal Gao. If the enrollment goes well this time, I'm afraid that Principal Gao will also be promoted by then, right? Ha ha ha, we are all serving China. Every position is important, right, Director Bei?" The two adults smiled insincerely. The boys and girls next to them trembled with fear, thinking, is this the world of adults? Beiji looked at Lin Bin with gratitude. His words were like he had tied all his efforts to her. This little thing still blamed Zine. The two of them exchanged pleasantries. The principal stood up to see them off and still reminded them to remember to pay attention to things in the new learning environment. Beiji was dazed for a while. Although they both had the surname Gao, this principal was greedy for power, but at least he was sincere for the students. "In the future, remember to come back often." The principal opened the door and prepared to see them off. But the door had just opened, and the principal, who was facing the door, suddenly found that the faces of several students suddenly became extremely frightened. Among them, Li Jing, who was the least courageous, couldn't help but take 2 steps back. "What's wrong?" Principal Gao looked back in surprise, and then he saw a dark crack as high as a person, hanging in the air like a stunning painting, and floating constantly. "What is this?" Before Principal Gao could finish his sentence, he was swallowed by the dark crack. Lin Bin immediately showed a look of astonishment, and said in surprise, "Is this a secret realm? Strange, how can a secret realm appear here? No, how can a secret realm suck ordinary people in? Isn't the secret realm only accessible to reincarnators?" But there was no time for them to react. The space crack suddenly expanded towards the room. Lin Bin instinctively wanted to jump out of the window to escape. With his current strength, jumping from a mere 8th floor would at most injure him. But after taking a look at Wei Yang's dazed face and Beiji's terrified face, she seemed to realize what this was. Lin Bin sighed. Anyway, there was still a little more than a day before entering the secret realm. He pulled the two behind him and started the reincarnation watch training mode without hesitation. The next moment, the entire office was swallowed up into the secret realm. Chapter 31. I just want an ordinary experience, asking for monthly tickets and recommendations. What? Another new secret realm appeared in the downtown. When they learned the message sent back by the space detector, almost the entire Beishu City Samsara Space Association was boiling, especially in the World Early Warning Bureau. Raymond stood up suddenly, and his usually cold face showed a solemn look. He shouted, "Immediately send people to control all places within a radius of 1,000 meters around the secret realm, and evacuate the surrounding people, to prevent them from accidentally entering the secret realm." Yes. The entire World Administration Bureau moved instantly. What they feared most was this situation. If the entrance to the secret realm appeared in a secluded place in the wilderness, then they could completely control the surrounding environment and not let anyone in or out, to prevent ordinary people from accidentally entering the secret realm, and then send out reincarnations to suppress it. Although speed is still important, there is no need to be too anxious and impatient. If the secret realm appears in the downtown area, it is not bad at night. There are few people at night, and they have enough time to react and evacuate the crowd until the secret realm stabilizes. But once the secret realm appears in the daytime and in a place with a large number of people, the first secret realm that appears is too torn, and without the suppression of special space devices, it is easy to suck in some innocent ordinary people. At that time, the casualties will be great. Therefore, every time a new secret realm is born, it must be suppressed by the Space Early Warning Bureau first. And what they fear most is the sudden appearance of this wild secret realm. He asked, where did the secret realm appear? Were there innocent people sucked into the secret realm? There were casualties, because the secret realm appeared in front of the main teaching building of Hengyang High School. School? Raymond took a breath of cold air. It was worse than bad news. It's not that there is no good news. Zhao Wang, who was in charge of space detection, quickly analyzed the report of this secret realm. He spoke quickly. The secret realm appeared in the teaching building, occupying most of the entire teaching building. Fortunately, the students were not in class, and most of the students were still in the auditorium for the graduation ceremony, so only a few innocent passers-by were involved in the secret realm. As long as one innocent passerby is involved, it is not good news. Raymond said sternly, immediately analyze the strength of the spatial fluctuations, and contact the Martial Arts Alliance and the Scientific Research Club with me. This time, saving people is the first priority. We must send a higher level reincarnation. Xiaoqian, you may need to go there in person, and not just you. At that time, I will apply to major associations for powerful reincarnations to cooperate with you. Everything is based on the safety of the people. If the mission fails, we will give you full compensation. Don't worry, leave it to me. Zukan, who was lying lazily on the sofa and playing games next to him, gave up the victory that was within her grasp and hung up the phone in the enemy's fountain. There were bursts of angry national curses coming from the mobile phone speaker. She pressed the mute button directly. But, maybe we can't arrange to rescue people. Zhao Wang showed an embarrassment on his face. Lei Jun frowned and asked, why? Because there are 8 people sucked into the secret realm, and 2 of them are reincarnations. After they entered the secret realm, they were forced to start the training mode, so before their training is over, theoretically all reincarnations cannot enter it. Lei Meng took a breath of cold air when he heard it. There are already reincarnations training in it. There are actually 2 reincarnations in the middle among the 8 people. How much of a coincidence does this have to be? The secret realm has invaded Yuanxing for many years. Therefore, many rules were born out of countless experiences of blood and tears. For example, when the secret realm just entered Yuanxing, the reincarnations did not limit the number and batches of reincarnations entering. The original intention was to pool resources. As a result, different batches of different reincarnations had different tasks and even conflicts. Not only did the tasks not complete, but the fighting between the reincarnations was also extremely serious. Almost half of the casualties of the reincarnationists did not fall on the way to the secret realm, but died in internal strife. Over time, there was a rule in the reincarnation space that only the same batch of reincarnationists were allowed to enter at a time. Now 2 reincarnationists have entered it. Before the 2 of them fail in their mission or die, other reincarnationists are not allowed to enter at all. Raymond said sternly, have you immediately found out the intensity of the space fluctuations in the secret realm and the identities of the 2 reincarnationists? Zhao Wang said loudly, yes. Half an hour later, Zhao Wang said with a strange expression, the difficulty of the secret realm has been detected. It is adventure level, and the 2 reincarnations involved are both newcomers. Deng Yang, an apprentice reincarnation with 0 experience, and Lin Bin, an apprentice reincarnation with 1 experience. What? Zukan suddenly stood up from the sofa in surprise, and said in shock, Abin was involved in an adventure level secret realm again. He, is he so unlucky? He was rejoicing to me the day before yesterday, saying that he could finally enter a proper ordinary level secret realm, but now an accident has dragged him in again. It was him? Raymond frowned, as if he thought of something. The fist in his sleeve slowly clenched, but his face relaxed a little, and he said, if it's him, I should be relieved. Even if it's an adventure level secret realm, at least self-protection is not a problem. Boss, you think too highly of Abin, don't you? Zukayan frowned and said, although it's just an adventure level secret realm, don't forget that there are 6 ordinary people in it this time. Wait, no, that reincarnation has no experience of training. He is not as good as Abin. This is not 7 more teammates, this is 7 more opponents. Abin is in a situation of 1 against 7, and he still has to pass the secret realm. So, the difficulty this time is probably not lower than the last zombie secret realm. She sighed and said, Abin is so pitiful, he just wants to experience an ordinary secret realm. Why do all kinds of accidents always happen? Once can be said to be an accident, but twice in a row, is this really an accident? Raymond suddenly sneered. Zukayan was stunned when she heard this, and asked, boss, what do you mean? Zukigyo is dead. Raymond suddenly threw out a name without any reason, seemingly unrelated. But Zukayan's face suddenly became extremely solemn, and she asked, is he one of the survivors of the accident that Abin's parents encountered? That's right. He was found dead in bed. The cause of death was too many customers within a few days, and the customers played too exciting games, which led to excessive heartbeat and death. Of course, this is the official cause of death. Zukayan's face became much more serious, and she asked in a deep voice, do you suspect that someone is targeting this group of people? And Abin is among them? We can all suspect his identity, so naturally others can also suspect it. But now it seems that it may not only be us officials who are targeting them, but also someone else. Raymond said, let's wait for Abin to come out. The timing is so coincidental this time. I'm afraid this time, this kid will have to face more than just the dangers of the secret realm. He sighed, it's a pity. We came to the secret realm in a hurry this time. I didn't have time to equip him with enough bullets. I hope he brought the Desert Eagle Shura with him, even if there are only 11 bullets in the magazine. You know, guns can still play a big role in the adventure level secret realm. Every failure is a lesson. It seems that we must always arm Abin to the teeth in the future. Zukayan looked at Raymond deeply, although she knew that the boss might have guessed something. But he didn't say it. She couldn't ask, but she couldn't help but feel a little worried. This unlucky child. Why is he so unlucky? Chapter 32. A true reincarnation dares to solo all secret realms. While the World Early Warning Bureau was getting anxious, relevant news began to emerge in the Reincarnation Forum. Handsome and forceful. Big news. Big news. An adventure level secret realm appeared in the campus area of Hengayang High School in Beishu City, and this time many innocent people were involved. The situation is serious this time. If ordinary people die in the secret realm, I'm afraid that the funds of various associations will be cut again. Deg. 3 seconds is enough. Oh. Didn't expect the situation to be so serious. Then I apply to enter this adventure level secret realm. I'm a professional in saving people. Pig Mother Wolf Wasp. Bah. Do you want to save people? Are you greedy for the extra merits and rewards after saving people? It's a pity that you don't have a chance. I heard that in addition to a few ordinary people, there are also 2 reincarnations involved in the secret realm this time. Technology is invincible. Oh. I would like to ask which 2 lucky people are so lucky? Such a great blessing has fallen on my head. No wonder he asked this. You know, the real meaning of the existence of reincarnationists is not to pass the secret realm, but to better protect those innocent people. Because of this, every time an ordinary person falls into the reincarnation space, the reincarnation space will issue extremely rich task rewards to encourage reincarnationists to rescue ordinary people. Over time, although everyone knows that human life is as important as heaven, for the reincarnationists, every time an ordinary person falls into the reincarnation space, it is a good thing for them. I really want to cheat in the secret realm. It's a pity. This is really not a good blessing. These 2 reincarnationists are both apprentice reincarnationists. One has no experience, and the other has only 1 experience. What's the difference between them and ordinary people? They still want to pass the level? It's good enough to come out alive. A lot of reincarnation points have been lost in vain. I'm afraid there will be no place to cry when the time comes. 3 seconds is long enough. I suddenly feel a little sorry for them. Alas. Such a good opportunity. Alas. Alas. This is really the people inside the wall want to get out, and the people outside want to get in. The forum was extremely lively. How envious I was before, how much pity I felt afterwards. If the ordinary secret realm is the limit of what humans can achieve through normal training, then the adventure secret realm is already full of martial arts masters who can fly over eaves and walls. Let 2 ordinary reincarnationists. Fenkingshan. Actually, they are really not ordinary people. 3 seconds is enough to last. Oh, the president is out. Does the president have any opinions? Fenkingshan didn't waste any words. He directly released a set of data. Reincarnationist, Abin level, apprentice qualifications, experience of clearing the killing level secret realm independently x1, evaluation, A. Most of the personal data of reincarnationists belong to their own privacy, and others have no right to view it, but some of it is available for outsiders to view. Fenkingshan naturally released these few pieces, and the short 3 lines of public information instantly set off a huge wave in the entire forum. Fuck. Among the many reincarnationists who were looking at their phones, Che-Yuji and others couldn't help but curse in a low voice. They had deliberately not released the news about Linbin, just to keep him to themselves for a while. After all, no one would pay special attention to an ordinary reincarnationist. At that time, they could pay more attention to him, and maybe they could get a bigger advantage. For more merits and reincarnation points, it's not shameful. But who knew that the president of the Beishu City Supernatural Association would directly expose this matter? Even those who knew the personal information were so shocked. What about those reincarnationists who knew nothing? Fuck, what kind of immortal reincarnationist is this? Just the experience of clearing the secret realm once, but it turned out to be the experience of the killing level secret realm, and he cleared it alone. Starting at the killing level? Are all the reincarnationists now so fierce? That's right. Is he the son of Tang Sheng or the son-in-law of Mr. Zhu? Or is he born with 3 heads and 6 arms, and can spit fire and thunder? Deg. Fake reincarnationist. Work diligently, step by step, and strive to climb to the top. Real reincarnationist. Get me to the highest level. I want to be 10. Mom, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have disobeyed you, and became a reincarnationist. Today I know what a real reincarnationist is. It turns out that my end is just the starting point for others. I want to go home. I want to return to your arms. Oh, the forum was in chaos. If it was still pity before, then now, they are venting their excitement. Instead, infinite expectations have risen. It makes sense to be led through the killing level secret realm. After all, the secret realm clearance is not based on the final result, but also on the performance, so being led to brush will not get much benefit. As for those small benefits, the descendants of the real reincarnation boss naturally have many preferential treatments. But clearing the game independently, this proves that the teammates are either dead or have no effect at all. Anyway, it is all related to cheating. It's a rip-off. For him, the adventure level secret realm is probably nothing. It is estimated that the reincarnation space also considers that this level of secret realm cannot satisfy the reincarnation master named Abin, so it specially increases the difficulty for him and adds 7 drags to make him more excited. HU. At this moment, Lei Jun, who was sitting in front of the office and clumsily writing with the pen in his hand like a stick, suddenly felt a malice that went straight to the depths of his bones. He took out the reincarnation table. His face was stunned for a moment, and he hurriedly flipped up, flipping non-stop, until he flipped to the top. He found that his name did not appear, and he breathed a sigh of relief. When he wrote down the words instantly like a god, he must pass the appeal as soon as possible. He must not let anyone know that the person who was hanging up was him. On the forum, although the reincarnations were excited, what they said was just a joke. In fact, they were all quite worried about the safety of those innocent students. They should have lost all hope. But now, there was a reincarnation who looked like an apprentice, but was not an apprentice. They couldn't help but have more expectations. How far could he go? At this time, Feng Qingshan, who appeared quietly and then retired after completing his mission, took the initiative to contact Raymond and said, "The task you entrusted to me has been completed." Raymond, thank you. Feng Qingshan was rarely worried and asked, "You're welcome. Since you are willing to support Lin Bin, I also like this young man very much. There is no reason not to support him. It's just that you obviously wanted him to develop in a low-key manner before. Why did you suddenly change your mind? Aren't you afraid of praising him to death? Ha. If he can really come out of this secret realm, it proves that the previous killing level secret realm was not a coincidence. He is indeed a child of destiny born for the reincarnation space. For ordinary reincarnationists, it is praising to death, but for him, it is just the norm." Feng Qingshan asked, "What if the mission fails? Aren't you afraid that he can't bear this huge blow and will never recover?" Raymond said, "If his mission fails, then don't mind it." Feng Qingshan woke up instantly and asked, "Is there a mystery in this secret realm? Just in case." Raymond didn't say anything more and hung up the phone. Chapter 33 Single chapter Ask for recommendation and monthly tickets. It's a new week, and the new book list has to be re-ranked. Luohu thinks that the number of words in the new book is barely acceptable, so I beg for some monthly tickets and recommendations to help improve the ranking on the new book list. I don't dare to think about the overall ranking, but everyone can help me get into the top 10 of the sub list. More exposure is also good. As I said, as long as the tickets are in place, I will add more chapters without any complaints. Chapter 34 2 Missions. How could Lin Bin know about the many things happening in the outside world? At this time, he and the people around him had already stepped into the deep crack. And unlike the previous zombie secret realm, although the zombie secret realm is at the killing level, it is already under the control of the reincarnation space. Although there was an error in the spatial fluctuation detection, the error itself was within the allowable range. And this time, this secret realm is likely to appear suddenly. In other words, it is a real-world secret realm, and they are the first batch of visitors. The two experiences, if there is any difference, it is probably that, although the crack tunnel in the zombie secret realm is narrow, it can be walked to the end, just like a normal birth. And this mysterious secret realm is a Caesarean section. Halfway through, several people began to walk deep and shallow. Lin Bin held Beiji with one hand and Wei Yan with the other. In the end, he couldn't even protect himself. In the end, everyone fell into a period of dim consciousness. After a long time, everyone's consciousness slowly returned. He could feel his body swaying constantly, rising and falling with a regular rhythm. When Lin Bin opened his eyes, he saw that they were on a small boat, and the boat was moving along the river. The oars were gently rocking, and each time the boat was pushed far away. The boat was not big and very simple. A shabby and leaky roof, plus two narrow benches on both sides, that were only enough to fit half of a person's buttocks, and thick moss on the wood. At this time, the boat was full of people, including Lin Bin and the other 8. There were nearly 20 people. Everyone was sitting on both sides of the boat, and some of them had their eyes slightly closed, as if they were taking a nap. Aren't they Principal Gao, Teacher Bei and others? And Deng Yang, who was the first to leave, was also among them. He frowned at this time, as if he was having a nightmare. Suddenly, as if talking in his sleep, he screamed and fumbled around. This inexplicable behavior startled everyone around. He yelled for a long time, before he reluctantly opened his eyes. Seeing the complex environment around him, and the old and tattered clothes of the passengers on the boat next to him, he was shocked and said, "What the hell is this place? I clearly opened the door to leave, but I fell directly. This is the place you dream of entering. There are many strange people around," and Lin Bin was afraid of attracting other people's attention, so he didn't say it too bluntly. Although they were dressed in strange clothes, they were enough to attract other people's attention. Secret realm. Deng Yang instantly understood what Lin Bin meant. He was confused and said, "How did we get here? This is not right. My father has already made an appointment with an old reincarnation for me." Lin Bin kicked him. His calf hurt. Deng Yang felt the pain and glared at Lin Bin fiercely before he realized the people around him. He continued to look at the surrounding environment in a daze. At this time, other people also woke up one after another. What is this place? Li Jing, the little girl from the couple of top students, couldn't help but asked timidly in a low voice. It's a secret realm. Beiji didn't say much, but motioned everyone to move back. The few people were originally dressed in strange clothes, and the common people kept their distance from them. Now they took the initiative to gather at the stern, and the others were naturally happy to do so, and they took the initiative to make way for them. So we have entered the secret realm now? Deng Yang was obviously still annoyed about what he said before, and complained, "Damn it, my dad has already paid a high price to invite a reincarnation of the extraordinary realm, and he was going to let him take me to brush the secret realm and slowly familiarize myself with the environment. How come I suddenly came in inexplicably? This should be a brand new secret realm that has just been born, but the exit happened to be blocked at the door of the high school dean's office, so when we opened the door, we were all sucked in." As an alien, Beiji naturally understood what the black crack was. Then what should we do? We are not reincarnationists. By the way, Deng Yang, Abin, you two are reincarnationists. You two should know what to do, right? Deng Yang said angrily. We are all apprentices, and we have no experience in entering the secret realm. Beiji called out. Abin. She knew more than the others, knowing that Lin Bin had actually become a reincarnationist 2 or 3 months ago. According to the rules of reincarnationists, he should not be a novice, and his first experience should have been carried out during this period of time. Wait for the reincarnation table in our hands to read the information of this world, and it won't be long before we can issue a task. Lin Bin sat down leisurely and said, "What we need to do now is not to cause too much commotion. Don't shout about the secret realm and reincarnationists, and when we get ashore, find a way to change into an ancient costume to avoid being too unconventional. No matter what our mission is, we must first integrate into this era." Deng Yang snorted softly, obviously knowing that Lin Bin's so-called "don't shout" refers to him. When Yang asked, "Does that mean you can only leave this secret realm after completing the mission?" "It's okay if the mission fails. If there is a time limit, you can return, as long as you wait until the mission is over. But then the reincarnators will be punished. I'm not sure whether those of you who strayed into the secret realm will be punished. So the most important thing is to find the mission quickly. Wait, they'll be here soon." Lin Bin glanced at the passengers on the front of the ship, thinking that they were dressed in ancient clothes. I wondered which dynasty they were from. I hope they are not ghosts. The golden money sword is short and easy to carry, so I always carry it with me. The Desert Eagle Shura is always pinned on the back of my coat. But the compass is not easy to carry, so I left it at home. And I don't have enough bullets, although I exchanged for the eternal life secret. Considering that the next secret realm should be an ordinary secret realm, if nothing unexpected happens, the half-baked eternal life secret plus the half-baked AK are basically enough to deal with it. After all, according to the information in the forum, the strongest in the ordinary secret realm is only the type of human body cultivation to the limit, and there are no various cultivation systems. Whether it is the Desert Eagle Shura or the eternal life secret, they are all the existence of killing all around. But who knows, if there is no accident, there will definitely be an accident. What is the difficulty of this secret realm? Adventure? Or killing? Director Lei said that the strength of the zombie level secret realm is not strictly speaking up to the killing level. I don't know if he misjudged and underestimated the zombies, or is the killing level secret realm really as terrible as he said? Lin Bin carefully observed the surrounding environment, trying to figure out useful information. At this time, a group of fully armed soldiers suddenly appeared on the shore. Everyone held a long sword and a crossbow, aiming at the boats in the center of the river. Someone shouted loudly, "The boat's in the middle of the river, hurry up and dock. If you don't dock, we will shoot arrows." The sound of broken footsteps sounded on the riverbank. More and more people appeared, and with them, countless black flags appeared. The words on it are traditional Chinese characters, but they can be recognized almost. The commander of the Western Factory. Western Factory? Lin Bin's eyes moved slightly, and he suddenly thought of something. At the same time, he suddenly felt something, and looked down at his reincarnation table. Deng Yang next to him also made the same action. Secret realm mission. Obtain the treasure of Beishang country. Completion reward. 1500 reincarnation points, 1 sea level merit, task time limit, none, failure penalty, deduct 800 reincarnation points, the presence of Chinese citizens is detected in the secret realm, and the secret realm mission 2 is issued, secret realm mission 2. Protect Chinese citizens from harm by aliens. Completion reward. When the secret realm mission 1 is completed, for each additional citizen alive, an additional 300 reincarnation points will be obtained. Failure penalty. For each citizen who dies, 300 reincarnation points will be deducted. 2. Missions? Deng Yang looked up somewhat at a loss. Lin Bin frowned. Sea level merit. According to convention, it is an adventure level secret realm. So, this is really the world of Dragon Gate Flying Daggers? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35. I can't carry a stupid teammate plus a burden. There are actually 2 tasks. After entering the secret realm, generally speaking, don't you only have 1 task? That's what my extraordinary reincarnation mentor told me. Deng Yang looked at the reincarnation table and said somewhat helplessly. The man in the couple was named Jiang King. He asked, you received 2 tasks? Which 2 tasks? Let us find the treasure of a country called Beishang and protect the safety of ordinary people like you who are involved in the secret realm. And why did you kick me? Deng Yang glared at Lin Bin. Lin Bin was speechless. This egg is invincible. Pig teammates? Damn. Adventure level secret realm. Pig teammates. Plus 6 burdens. Even Lei Jun can't carry them. Sure enough, as soon as Deng Yang said this, Principal Gao, Jiang King, and Yui's eyes lit up. I see. Then if you don't protect us well, you will definitely be punished, right? Jiang King had already keenly caught the loophole in the words and asked. Lin Bin said, but don't forget that, although we are both reincarnators, we are only trainees, and have never entered an ordinary secret realm. We are no different from you. Theoretically, we do need to protect your safety, but we will do our best to let a sheep protect the safety of another sheep in the mouth of a wolf, but human power is sometimes limited, and missions often fail. I don't want you to risk your life to protect me. Just do your best. Just do your best. Jiang King faced Lin Bin's eyes. Although the other party was explaining in a friendly manner, he was instinctively a little scared and laughed dryly a few times. While the few people were talking, the boat had been towed to the shore. Beiji whispered, what should we do? Be calm first. They are not looking for us. Lin Bin's eyes fell on a woman next to him who was covering her face with a big banner. The heavy banner could not cover her beautiful face. But compared with Beiji's dignified and elegant small suit, it was obviously inferior. Soon, they were surrounded by heavy weapons. Although they were dressed in strange clothes, they were ordinary people after all. Especially among them, there were men and women. Although teacher Beiji was beautiful, it was a pity that she met a group of eunuchs. They just looked her up and down and let her go. On the contrary, the woman who deliberately reduced her traces was directly pulled out. Although she had just arrived in this plane, Lin Bin knew her origin. Su Hurang, a person who was said to be pregnant with the emperor's flesh and blood, so she was feared by the imperial concubine and couldn't wait to kill her. In fact, if you want to complete the task and obtain the treasure of Beishang Kingdom, the woman in front of you is an option. Although her goal is not the treasure of Beishang Kingdom, in the end, she is indeed one of the people who set foot in the treasure. If you follow her, or follow Lin Yang Qiu behind her, she must know something about the treasure. No, Lin Yang Qiu seems to be easy to talk to, but it is only to specific people. Her predecessor was Jin Xiangyu, the proprietress of Longmen Inn. She killed countless people and made dumplings out of them. Just because she fell in love with a man, she suddenly became a kind-hearted saint? This is impossible. She saved Su Hurong only because Su Hurong was the one that the West Factory wanted to catch, and going against the West Factory would make her lover like her. This was her purpose. She just wanted to see Zhao Huayan. If he rashly wanted to go to Longmen Inn with her, he would probably be plotted against by her halfway. After all, they came from unknown places and were dressed strangely. In her eyes, they could never be friends. No one knew that, although they had just arrived, countless thoughts had already turned around in Lin Bin's mind. What are you going to do? Please don't. Let me go. While Lin Bin was pondering, Su Hurong had been taken into the group of guards. The poor disguise, the panic expression, almost no part of her body was not shouting that there was something wrong with me. Especially the smell on her body, which directly exposed the flaws. Aren't we going to save her? Seeing the charming little beauty being put under the knife and about to be disemboweled, Wei Yan couldn't help but ask. Lin Bin said casually, do you like her? She is pregnant with someone else's child. An amateur? Wei Yan's eyes lit up, and he was immediately filled with righteous indignation. This is a rare resource. Let's save her. Lin Bin. Someone saved her. He turned his head and looked into the distance. Just when Su Hurong was about to die at the hands of the enemy, a grey shadow fell from the sky like a falcon. It was so fast that it rushed into the middle of the Western factory guards in the blink of an eye. A long sword was extremely sharp, and in the blink of an eye, several sprays of blood splattered, and several officers and soldiers surrounding Su Hurong had died directly. Go, kill him. The bald head headed by the Western factory shouted, and the guards rushed up, and more than a dozen guards holding crossbows around them had already aimed at the green figure. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Dozens of sharp arrows shot at her, but she deflected them lightly with a long sword. These deadly arrows were obviously completely controlled by her. They bounced away and shot diagonally into the soldiers who surrounded her, taking their lives. So powerful. Lin Bin thought that he was indeed an adventure level strength. Lin Yangqiu was not the top fighter in this world, but he could fight against dozens of people alone and move freely. Moreover, he moved very quickly. Obviously, he had light body skills. Lin Bin slowly recalled the plot in his mind. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, and he turned to look at Beiji. He took out the Desert Eagle Shura from his waist. Gun. How did you get a gun? Hui couldn't help but screamed softly, looking at Lin Bin in shock. Indeed, the dark golden pattern of the Desert Eagle Shura looked very intimidating. Wei Yan was also shocked and said, Abin, you can't be. I'm just kidding. I'm just a little interested in amateurs. You don't have to take risks for my hobbies. Which one is for you? Since we are here, and we are on the same ship with this woman, the mission must be related to her to some extent. Now is a good opportunity to help her in times of need. Lin Bin explained roughly and said, there is no time to think about it. If we don't help, she will kill everyone. As he said that, he raised his hand and raised his gun. He didn't even need to aim and fired a shot. The experience of tens of thousands of shots in the past has accumulated rich experience. Behind Lin Yangqiu, an officer who rushed towards her with a knife suddenly had a bloody hole on his forehead and fell to the ground helplessly. Lin Yangqiu turned her head to look at Lin Bin, and without stopping, the sword blade turned in her palm, and several officers and soldiers around fell to the ground and died. She turned and rushed towards the bald man. Lin Bin revealed his identity with a shot, and then stopped shooting. Instead, he put down the gun. Beside, Deng Yang growled angrily, Lin Bin, you are too arbitrary. There are 8 of us. Why do you make the decision without even consulting us? Lin Bin looked at him in surprise and said speechlessly, do you have a better idea? But the secret realm is full of dangers. If you are not careful, you will be doomed. You are so arbitrary. Who do you think you are? Remember, you are not the only reincarnation. None of us agrees with you to do this. Deng Yang said angrily, you will drag all of us into the abyss. Nonsense. I support him. Wei Yan was the first to express his position. He said seriously, Abin, actually I still like amateurs. Thank you for saving her. I believe in Abin too. Beiji said seriously. And me. Principal Gao also took the initiative to express his position. Chapter 36 Internal Strife. And in that moment, Lin Yangqiu's move was as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye, she had killed all the people in the West factory. Perhaps because there were a few more bystanders around, she left no one alive this time. She was so ruthless that the boatmen who had been there before were scared and fled in panic. For a moment, there were only 8 people including Lin Bin, Lin Yangqiu and Su Hurong who were still in shock beside her. Thank you for saving my life, Little brother. Lin Yangqiu looked up and down at Lin Bin, especially at his knuckles and fingers. Not seeing any calluses, she then praised, "What a beautiful hidden weapon, although the sound is a bit loud." Lin Bin said, "Lady, can I talk to you alone?" In just a short moment, a plan emerged in his mind. If everything goes well, maybe he can easily obtain the treasure of Beishang Kingdom. What? A female warrior? Wen Yang looked up and down at Lin Yangqiu and said in surprise, "If you hadn't said it, I would have thought she was a man." Lin Bin thought to himself that it was because you hadn't seen her charming and seductive appearance 3 years ago, otherwise Su Hurong would be a scum in front of you. However, no matter how beautiful a woman is, after 3 years of wandering, her former appearance is indeed not much left. Wait, what do you mean by talking alone? I don't agree. Deng Yang stepped forward and said dissatisfiedly, "Lin Bin, you have to understand that we are not teammates, and you are not our captain. Your status is the same as mine. Why should I listen to you? It seems that you have a conflict within your group." Lin Yangqiu looked at Lin Bin deeply again, revealing a scornful smile, which then quickly disappeared. She said, "Since you just helped me, I will rest for half an hour, and then I will leave." "Thank you." Lin Bin thanked him. "Come with me. I haven't asked you why the people from the West Factory want to deal with you." Lin Yangqiu motioned Su Hurong to follow her. Su Hurong looked at Lin Bin and the others timidly and felt that Lin Yangqiu, who was dressed more familiarly, was more trustworthy, so she followed her obediently. After walking away, Lin Bin frowned and said, "Deng Yang, this isn't the first time. You can disagree with my plan, but there's no need to sabotage me, right?" Deng Yang said hostilely, "But I don't want to follow any of your plans. I only know that this world is an adventure level world and it's very dangerous. You've just arrived, and it's a taboo to make a hasty decision without investigating the intelligence. This is what my mentor taught me. My mentor is a reincarnationist of the extraordinary realm. What he said can't be wrong." Lin Bin said lightly, "No one forces you to follow my plan. If you are not satisfied, you can leave. Although we are all reincarnationists and have a common mission, no one says that we must complete it together. There is no such thing as protecting colleagues and the mission of reincarnationists. Nonsense. Of course I have to go. Just like you have a plan, I also have my own plan, and this plan is definitely more secure than yours." Deng Yang sneered, "And I didn't plan to take you with me." As he spoke, his eyes swept over the Desert Eagle Shura in Lin Bin's hand. As a fellow reincarnationist, the gun in Lin Bin's hand can undoubtedly play a great role. But he was really fed up with Lin Bin's attitude of taking him for granted. He didn't even ask for his opinion. It was too much. You have to know that this Lin Bin is just a newcomer, while Deng Yang has been trained for 2.5 years and has been carefully trained by a serious extraordinary reincarnationist. Although he is not a formal reincarnationist yet and has not been strengthened, he has practiced the training system taken out from the secret realm. Whether in terms of strength or character, he is better than 90% of the trainee reincarnationists. Deng Yang was confident that he could pass through the secret realm, but he definitely didn't want Lin Bin to follow him and benefit from it. "It's time for you guys to make a choice." "No, you three have already made a choice, so what about you three?" Deng Yang turned his head to look at the couple and Hui and asked, "The two of us have different ideas. Who do you want to follow?" "He has a gun, although the bullets are limited, and although I'm not enhanced, I have a mentor in the extraordinary realm to teach me." "Think about it carefully." Li Jing asked timidly, "Can't we all be together?" Deng Yang said firmly, "No." Lin Bin said, "I also think that either we should join the same team to work together and work together. If we are not on the same page, it is better to separate and act separately instead of dragging each other down. You also know the mission of the reincarnation. Whether you follow me or him, we will protect you, so don't worry about your own safety." Then I still follow Deng Yang. The girl looked at the gun in Lin Bin's hand with envy, but then looked at Beiji, and finally turned to Deng Yang honestly. Me too." Jiang King also said hurriedly. Obviously, compared to a gun with limited bullets, he is more confident in his identity as a disciple of the transcendental reincarnationist. Especially since the enemies just now appeared in dozens of people, guns really can't play a big role. Uhui hesitated for a moment, but remembered that she had agreed with Deng Yang to be his logistics. If she really chose Abin, it is very likely that she would not be able to get involved with either side. She then stood behind Deng Yang obediently. Very good, just 3 people each. Take care, I won't see you off. Humph. Let's go. I hope we can meet again after the secret realm is over. Deng Yang snorted, turned around and left without hesitation. Although Wei Yang didn't like Deng Yang, he still couldn't help but feel a little confused and said blankly, are we going to separate now? It's normal, Lin Bin said, because our ideas are basically the same. Wei Yang was surprised and said, can we separate after the same? We both have our own support, but we don't want the other to take advantage of us, so separation is definitely the best decision. Lin Bin knew too well how important a high starting point is for a new reincarnationist. If Deng Yang had a better character, he wouldn't mind personally training a comrade who could explore the secret realm together. But this man's narrow-mindedness is amazing. When the principal just said a few more words to him, he couldn't help but snorted coldly to show his displeasure. Lin Bin was naturally unwilling to take such a person with him. What if he was trained and stabbed him in the back? He would have no place to cry. Seeing that he had the intention to separate, he went with the flow and said a few words. He really left. As for Uhui and the young couple leaving with him, it was their own choice, and he was too lazy to care so much. Although the reincarnation points of the reincarnated will be deducted after death, this is an adventure level secret realm after all. Even if they all stay, Lin Bin is not completely sure that he can protect the safety of all of them. He smiled and said, don't worry. I can't say I'm 100% sure, but I'm at least 60% to 70% sure. As long as you listen to me, you don't have to worry about safety. With what Lin said, I feel relieved. Haha, ahaha. The principal glanced at Beiji and Wei Yang, thinking that one of them was kind to Lin, and the other was his best friend. It seems that in the next few days, he must follow these two closely and not leave them even a step. Otherwise, if they are sacrificed, he may be the first one. Don't worry, I'll go talk to Miss Ling first. Lin Bin walked over there. The 3 nodded. After a moment, Beiji tilted her head in confusion, thinking Miss Ling? Did the girl say her last name was Ling? Chapter 37. Their respective calculations. At this time, Lin Yangqiu had been waiting for a long time. Seeing Lin Bin coming over, she asked, is it over? Yes, it's over. Lin Bin sighed. After all, we are not the same kind of people. They are after money, and we are for people. It is better to separate than to fight against each other. Lin Yangqiu asked, for people? For whom? Miss Ling, do you really not recognize me? In just a short while, Lin Bin already had a relatively complete plan in his mind. He said sincerely and seriously, when I first met you 3 years ago, I was still a disheveled kid at that time, but to be honest, the proprietress was so charming at that time that I, as a teenager, was instantly obsessed with her. Lin Yangqiu's pupils shrank slightly, and he asked in surprise, 3 years ago? 3 years ago, at Longmanin, I was able to escape from Kao Shaoqin's pursuit, thanks to the great help of the proprietress. You are. Lin Bin said with a simple face, my surname is Lin Bin, Lin from the Yang and Lin family. So it's you. Lin Yangqiu suddenly realized, and asked, then the woman who was standing next to you just now. Her surname is Bei from the Bei and Yang family. Lin Bin had thought of everything already. He explained, during the last turmoil, we were separated from Uncle Zhao. We have been living in a place far away from the Ming dynasty for 3 years, changing our surnames and hiding our names. Our strange clothes are the normal attire there. After a few years, my sister and I have grown up and have some strength. We want to find Uncle Zhao who saved our lives and repay our gratitude. However, he seems to have changed his name a long time ago. We only heard that Zhao Hualien has been killing the traitors in the East and West factory over the years, and there is no Zhao Hualien anymore. So that's how it is. 3 years have passed, and you have grown up so much. No wonder I think you look familiar. It's because I met you 3 years ago. Seeing an old friend, Lin Yangqiu showed a bit of loneliness on his face. He didn't doubt Lin Bin's words. When a person greets you warmly, you will instinctively feel that this person looks very friendly. What's more, they didn't really meet a few times a few years ago. 3 years have passed, and the child is in the most critical growth period. It's impossible to recognize him. Lin Bin naturally has his own considerations. It is important to understand the plot. In the first part of Dragon Inn, almost the entire story revolves around the children of the loyal minister Yang Yuxun. If he can pretend to be the son of Yang Yuxun, it actually has no effect. But it can directly increase the favorability of Ling Yanqiu and Zhao Huayan to the highest level, and even to the point of dying for him. Isn't this equivalent to having a few more powerful bodyguards? Moreover, after being a loyal minister, he will be respected wherever he goes. But as a price, maybe the hatred value of the West Factory and the East Factory will be directly maximum. However, in this area, if you want to get the treasure of Beishang Kingdom, the West Factory is an unavoidable target, and the East Factory has declined after Kao Shaokin's death, and it is actually no different from before. Again, take advantage of the situation. On one side, it is regarded as a life of recovery, and on the other side, even if you surrender, you will at most be used as a tool. Even if Lin Bin is a pig, he knows how to choose. So, 20 minutes later, Ling Yanqiu no longer had any doubts about Lin Bin. After all, if he had not experienced it himself, he would not have been able to describe those things 3 years ago in such detail. It is impossible that he has been hiding aside and secretly watching all of their experiences. When Lin Bin comes back, Wen Yang asked with concern, "Abin, how is it?" "Very good. We will follow Miss Ling out later. By the way, Teacher Bei, from now on, although your name is Beiji and my name is Lin Bin, you are my biological sister, and our family name is Yang, understand?" Beiji was stunned for a moment, but remembering that Lin Bin was a professional, she nodded and said, "No problem, little brother." "Okay, sister. Are they planning to pretend to be a family?" the principal of the high school asked expectantly. "Then can I be your father?" Lin Bin looked at him speechlessly and said, "What are you thinking about? Come with me. I have found out that the location of Beishang Kingdom's treasure is roughly hidden in a place called Langman Inn. Let's follow them first. They will protect us." "You got the clue to the treasure so quickly?" Wen Yang was surprised and said, This is the reincarnation space so simple? Just now I was wondering how terrible the adventure level secret realm is. I didn't expect you to ask for clues to the treasure as soon as you came here. It's just that it's not difficult for those who know how to do it, and it's difficult for those who don't." Lin Bin said, "Remember, don't talk nonsense on the way, don't mess around. Come with me, listen to me. I dare not say it's 100%, but at least I can give you 70% chance of survival." Beiji nodded and said, "I understand, little brother. Don't worry, sister won't make trouble." "Okay, let's go." Wen Yan was still muttering, "I didn't expect it to be so simple. No wonder you didn't want to bring that Deng Yang." Indeed, his face was full of hostility. "If I were you, I wouldn't want my fruit to be eaten by such a person. But it's a pity for you Hui. You haven't eaten her yet. If you had known, you would have cheated her body first. Now you would have thrown her away like a stinky rag and that would have made you feel better." "Hey, Teacher Bei, why did you kick me?" Beiji said angrily. "Don't lead me astray. Teacher, you are too immersed in the role." Wen Yan complained, "You are too biased. Let's go, they are waiting for us." Lin Bin signaled everyone to leave quickly. "The fruit I earned through my own ability will never be given to such a person." On the other side, Deng Yang also sneered and said, "It's ridiculous. Although I'm an apprentice reincarnationist, I have actually been receiving instruction from my mentor 2 years ago. With 2 years of instruction from a transcendent reincarnationist, I already know what to do when entering the reincarnation space. Don't worry, follow me, I will guarantee your safety." Hui asked, "What are you going to do?" "Simple, this mission is for us to obtain the treasure, but we don't know anything except the 5 words treasure of Beishang country. But in fact, these 5 words alone are already clues." Deng Yang smiled and said, "The reason why the treasure has not been opened by anyone must be because no one knows the location, and as long as we tell the authorities of this world that the treasure of Beishang country is about to be opened, they will definitely help us find the right location for the treasure." "Then how do we get the treasure?" Jiang King also heard the trick and felt that following Deng Yang seemed to be the right choice. At least, his analysis was very reasonable. Do you know how to get the treasure? Hold the treasure in your hand. Don't be ridiculous. The treasure must be huge and impossible to get. So I guess it should be the moment we enter the treasure. The reincarnation table will determine that we have obtained the treasure. So we just need to find a way to follow the main force. Even if we can't get the treasure, we will definitely complete the task. Deng Yang laughed and said, doesn't Lin Bin want to act with these mortal enemies of the West Factory? Then we will join the West Factory. Our clues will definitely make the director of the West Factory happy. The West Factory has a large number of people and it's just right for them to work for us for nothing. But then, won't we become enemies? What if they die? Won't you also deduct reincarnation points? He has 3 people, and I also have 3 people. As long as the 3 of you are alive, I will be at most equal. Even if 1 or 2 of you 3 really die. Deng Yang patted the suitcases in his hand and smiled. These suitcases added together can also recover some losses. He was confident and proud. He could deduce so much useful information from the clues just now. Lin Bin, I naturally cannot let you share the benefits of my deduction. He sneered. Chapter 38 Eat delicious food and drink spicy food. Monthly ticket plus more. Please collect and read. Successfully joined Ling Yang Qiu's team. She did not interfere with the itinerary because of the 4 more people. Ling Yang Qiu specifically asked Lin Bin if he also wanted to find Zhao Huayan. Lin Bin said that the other party was hiding on purpose and it would be impossible to find him no matter how hard you tried. For example, if you pretended to be him and moved around the world for 3 years, he couldn't be unaware of your existence. The reason why he hasn't shown up until now must be that he is deliberately hiding. Maybe he has already seen you countless times in secret, but he just hasn't shown up. In this case, just follow your original idea. The woman you are chasing with the West Factory this time. As long as the West Factory keeps an eye on her, then he will keep an eye on the West Factory, and they will definitely bump into each other. Ling Yang Qiu agreed with Lin Bin's opinion. She knew very well that she had been looking for a famous person for 3 years, especially when she pretended to be him, but she never met him. How could this be possible? He must be hiding on purpose. At the moment, she still followed her previous idea and escorted Su Hurang to the Northwest Dragon Gate to help her get out of Human Pass. It doesn't matter who Su Hurang is, but as long as she is the person that the West Factory wants to catch, then she must help her. Lin Bin's meaning is very clear. Follow the plot. Although there are a few more of them, it's like the butterfly effect, and the plot will inevitably be messed up. But a new plane will not be out of control, even if it is messy. What he needs to do is to follow Ling Yang Qiu to Langmanin. At that time, with Zhao Huayan and others, he can easily integrate into the camp of Gu Xiaotang and others, enter the treasure, and go with the flow. It's a very simple plan, but for Lin Bin who knows all the plots, following the plot, there is no problem. Drink some water. On the camel's back, Ling Yang Qiu handed Lin Bin a water bag. It must be mentioned that the identity of the son of a loyal and righteous man is very useful. Even Ling Yang Qiu, a ruthless character who used to kill people without blinking an eye, has given him a little extra care. Thank you, Sister Ling. Lin Bin responded sweetly and turned around to hand the water bag to Beiji behind him. Asked, how long will it take us to get to Langman? About 2 or 3 days. We need to speed up and get out of Human Pass before the Black Sandstorm comes. Because there are so many people, they can't travel light as before. Ling Yang Qiu spent money to buy a few sets of clothes for Lin Bin and his friends to change into, and bought a few camels for Su Hurang and her friends to ride, and then they stepped into the desert. Wen Yang still hadn't extinguished his amateur dream, and ran to help Su Hurang lead the camels. He asked about her well-being. Lin Bin walked with Ling Yang Qiu in the desert for a whole day. He didn't change his face or his heartbeat, which surprised Ling Yang Qiu a little. Little did he know that the immortal key in Lin Bin's body could change its attributes freely. In this place full of desert loess, the immortal key was converted into earth attribute. The wind and sand blew in the face, hitting other people's faces and hurting them, but the moment it hit Lin Bin's face, all the force would be removed. The secret of immortality absorbs the surrounding spiritual energy into the body, and the speed of cultivation here is faster than his meditation and cultivation at home. Therefore, he felt more and more comfortable as he walked, and he wished that this road would have no end. But he also had his own worries in his heart. I have already inquired clearly. Did you see the black sandstorm in the sky? During the break, Su Hurong had some problems again. It seems that Ling Yang Qiu needs to take care of her. Now the situation of the 6 people is that Wei Yang is pestering Su Hurong is pestering Ling Yang Qiu is pestering Lin Bin, and Lin Bin is inseparable from Beiji. Taking advantage of the break, several people gathered together, and Lin Bin whispered, after the black sandstorm, the treasure of Beishang will appear, and what we need to do is to survive the black sandstorm. If we miss this opportunity, we will have to wait another 60 years to open the treasure for the second time. This is also my worry. There is no time limit for this mission. If we fail this time, will the mission not fail, but we will have to wait here for 60 years. As soon as these words came out, the faces of several people changed, especially Beiji. She felt that her skin had deteriorated a lot after not using facial cleanser for 2 days. She also began to understand Lin Bin's statement that Ling Yang Qiu was actually a charming beauty before. After 3 years of ruining her beauty, she still has this appearance. How beautiful must she have been 3 years ago? But at this time, she didn't care about lamenting that her appearance had declined. This 60 years. It's unlikely, but it can't be said that there is no possibility. Actually, I have entered a secret realm once. I was given 7 days very clearly. If I could complete the task within 7 days, I would pass the level. If I could not complete it within 7 days, I would fail. Lin Bin said, the secret realm is most afraid of this kind of ambiguous problem, because we can't take this risk at all. So this time, we must get the treasure of Beishang country. Fuck, no way. Wei Yang's face suddenly turned bitter when he heard this, and he said with a drooping face, live here for 60 years. It's just the worst possibility. I tell you this, because I don't want you to think that I'm doing useless work. During this period of time, I have already investigated everything clearly. We came here suddenly, and we are unfamiliar with the place. If there is no local to lead the way, we may not even know where we are. So all you need to do is trust me, and don't let me have any worries, understand? Principal Gao asked worriedly, will Deng Yang and the others ruin our business? It's better than internal strife in the same team, and dragging each other down. Lin Bin said, it seems that he has something to rely on. If he is really capable, he should be able to find our direction. How far he can go depends on his own luck. Lin Bin thought that the 2 of us did not come in as a team. I wonder if he can share the task if I complete it. It should be unlikely. After all, we did not form a team. Wei Yang sighed, although I hate him, I have never thought of letting them die. I hope they can find us. No way. The adventure level secret realm is usually participated by extraordinary reincarnations. I'm just an ordinary trainee reincarnation. I can't take care of myself, and you. I can't take care of so many people. I don't blame you. If you really want to take care of everything, I will laugh at you for being a saint. Wei Yang lamented. Besides, that kid obviously has his own plans. You may not be willing to take care of him. Maybe he is eating delicious food and drinking spicy drinks now. Unlike us, we are here to drink the northwest wind of the desert. It's so dry and astringent. I really want to drink Hurong's saliva. Lin Bin instinctively moved away from him. He said, okay, let's get going. We still have a few days to go. Just as Lin Bin and the others were heading towards Longmen, Wei Yang's words came true and really predicted the truth. Deng Yang was indeed drinking spicy food at this time. Cough cough, cough cough cough, spare my life, cough 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 cough. He struggled desperately, but his hands and legs were tied to the torture device and he couldn't move at all. A large bowl of scalded chili water gurgled down his throat and poured into his stomach. His throat was burning, and his nasal mucosa hurt, as if it was on fire. His internal organs were in great pain. Deng Yang's tears and snot were mixed together. The reserved self-esteem of the reincarnationist had long disappeared at this time. On the side, 3 ordinary people were already trembling with fear. Looking at the eyes of the people in the West Factory, it was as if they were looking at the devil of hell. Chapter 39 Deng Yang Wu Miserable, seeking monthly ticket for follow-up reading. The narrow secret room was dark and gloomy, with only a few torches flickering and bringing a little light to the room. It seemed that it was only to illuminate the darkness here, but as the darkness was illuminated, the light became guilty, because it illuminated things that should not be illuminated. Tiger bench, pepper water, burnt iron, heavy rusty iron chain, all kinds of torture instruments. At this time, all of them had been used on Deng Yang. Even his 10 fingernails were pulled out alive, and blood kept dripping from his fingertips in the bloody mess. Deng Yang was crying and coughing violently from time to time. It was the pepper water that cried into his throat again, causing burning from the inside out. At this time, 4 or 5 meters in front of him, a handsome man in a silver flying fish robe was sitting there leisurely counting a stack of brand new coins. He had a calm face, handsome face, and eyes as cold as a venomous snake. The governor of the West Factory, Yu Huashan. I believe Deng Yang will never forget this name in his life. While slowly counting Deng Yang's bonus, he praised, "Your analysis is pretty good, but unfortunately, you misjudge the strength of both sides. You have to understand that wolves will never hunt with dogs, and tigers will not share food with cats. How dare a Mirant talk about cooperation with a lion? Why should a lion listen to you? So many metaphors. Do you run a zoo?" If it were normal, Deng Yang would have ridiculed him like this. But now, all his dignity has been shattered. He just pleaded in a sad voice, "Please, I have said everything I can say. I have told you everything. Don't torture me anymore." He never expected it. Obviously, the person that the West Factory wanted to capture had already been rescued, and they actually had masters lurking on the side, and these masters did not take action to take the pregnant woman back. Instead, they took the opportunity to capture the 3 of them. Deng Yang's so-called desire for a deal was simply unrealistic. Without strength, no one would be willing to listen to him, or rather, they had already been hiding nearby and heard everything he boasted to the 3 people. His bottom line was directly known clearly. "Then tell me everything you know," Yu Huashan said lightly. "I don't like to intrigue with others, and I have to bother to analyze whether what you say is true or false. If you don't want to say it, I can wait. The punishment you just received is just an appetizer. We in the West Factory specialize in studying punishments, and there are many methods you can't think of. Either you tell everything now without reservation, or wait until you have suffered all the punishments one by one, and then I will come to you again in 3 days to see if you are still honest. Now or in 3 days, you choose. Once you have chosen, you can't regret it, understand?" I said, "I will tell you everything. Don't stop torturing me. Woo woo, stop torturing me." Deng Yang really wanted to pretend to be full of backbone, especially in front of the 3 little quails next to him. He is a high-ranking reincarnation. How can he surrender in front of a mere alien? But when the punishment really came, all kinds of cruel tortures, where would the hooks flashing with cold light hook him? And the wooden horses thick as an arm? Those were not instruments of torture that belonged to him. Why were they placed so close to him? And what was the purpose of the bronze bull that was bigger than a man? He knew that he could not survive for 3 days, and might not even survive for 3 hours. What if he chose 3 days, and the other party really waited 3 days before asking again? Wouldn't he have suffered 3 more days of torture in vain? Okay, I'll give you one chance. If you hesitate for a moment, I'll turn around and leave. Yu Huashan was obviously well versed in the means of torturing others. He easily broke through Deng Yang's defenses, raised the thick stack of banknotes in his hand, and asked, "What is this?" Deng Yang was stunned for a moment. Seeing Yu Huashan's unhappy expression, he quickly changed his words and said, "It's money. It's the currency of our China. It's very exquisite. Compared with this money, the money of our Ming dynasty is not even as good as toilet paper. And the password of this box is not an exaggeration to say that it is ingenious." Yu Huashan said lightly, "Where are you from?" We are from China. I'm asking how you came. The strange clothes on you will be noticed, no matter where you go, as long as you see people, but you suddenly appeared on a ship. Before you got on the ship, no one knew your whereabouts. Where are you?" Yu Huashan stood up and said, without giving Deng Yang a chance to hesitate, answer immediately, otherwise, I will turn around and leave. It's just a matter of getting the answer earlier or later. I don't mind waiting for a while. We were forcibly sucked in by the entrance to the secret realm. Deng Yang looked at the huge wooden horse that was gradually moved closer. His face changed drastically, and he exclaimed, we are Chinese. I'm a registered reincarnationist of China, and I was accidentally involved in this secret realm. The faces of the three people next to him turned pale. Originally, they followed Deng Yang, hoping to rely on his status as a disciple who had been carefully taught by a reincarnationist of the extraordinary realm for 2 years, to safely pass through the secret realm. But who knew that they fell into the hands of the enemy before the game started? Fortunately, they only tortured the leader and directly punished him, but did not torture them much. But unexpectedly, they even got the reincarnationists out now. This time, even Li Jing, who was the most brainless, knew that the matter was serious. Oh, tell me in detail. Yu Huashan was really interested. He sat down again and asked, what is the secret realm? Why was it sucked in? And where exactly is China? Tell me everything. Yes, just ask you to spare my life. I will tell you everything. Until this moment, Deng Yang realized how naive his previous thoughts were. The strange people in this secret realm are all living people. This Yu Huashan can sit in the position of the governor of the Western factory. How can his character and wisdom be ordinary? He actually wants to use him. It is true that a newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. After that, he no longer had the courage to resist. He honestly, whatever Yu Huashan asked, he answered honestly. After a long time, Yu Huashan walked out of the torture room. An unconcealable excitement appeared on his handsome face. Reincarnationists, fragments, secret realms. Ha 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 ha. This is really interesting. I just wanted to catch the big fish Zhao Huayan, but I didn't expect to catch a whole world. Ha 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 ha. He laughed. This time, God really helped him. He turned around and asked, Jinliang, did you hear it too? Yes, Governor. Behind Yu Huashan, standing was always his most trusted big boss Ma Jinliang. Although his face was mostly covered by black armor, his strange eyes still showed his shock. Obviously, the news just now was enough to shock him. This is a great opportunity. We can't miss it. What are you going to do? I'll give you 1 day to get all his secrets out. Also, the 4 of us will try him separately. Then it will be clear who is lying and who is telling the truth. Whoever dares to lie will be chopped up and fed to the other 3. Yes. Ma Jinliang went back in. After a while, Deng Yang's painful cry rang out. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Why are you torturing me? Can't I just cooperate with you honestly? Then there were the panic screams of Hui and the others. They had been dragged out alive. One of them cursed angrily. Fuck, I pulled your sleeves and you showed your shoulders for what? Are you trying to seduce us with your beauty? Excuse me, you still don't know what the Western factory is? We serve the Emperor. We are all eunuchs. Do you know what eunuchs are? Showing your shoulders is nothing. Do you want to take off your pants and see whose hole is bigger? Chapter 40. Something is wrong. It was only a little over 2 days journey. If they rode faster, they could arrive in a little over a day. But Su Huran was pregnant and couldn't travel long distances. If she walked a little longer, she would turn pale and look weak while holding her belly. So the journey was delayed again and again. It took them 3 or 4 days to walk. They saw a yellow storm tornado brewing in the distance, and even a flock of black crows raging, as if they wanted to wait for them to die and devour their flesh and blood. They finally managed to arrive at an old inn in the center of the desert before the black sandstorm arrived. Longman Inn. Oh, sir, I'm sorry, the black sandstorm is coming so fast that the inn is about to close. Even we have to rush to the post station 50 miles away to take shelter. We really can't accommodate anyone. The waiter looked embarrassed and blocked the way in front of the few people. He said apologetically, in fact, there were a few fights in the inn just now, and it took a lot of time to deal with the bodies. Otherwise, we would have left here and rushed to the post station. What kind of people are you? Didn't you see that we are pregnant? The sandstorm is about to come, and you are still driving us out. Are you still a human being? Wen Yan was the first to yell. Dissatisfied, he said, hurry up. Bring me good wine and good food. We want to stay in the hotel. Sisterling will have one room. Principal Gaia will have one room. Teacher Bay and Abin will have one room. Give us 4 rooms. This, the waiter said with embarrassment, but our Smallin can't withstand the black sandstorm. If you stay here, aren't you waiting to eat sand? Ling Yanqiu said lightly. Waiter, don't worry about him. We are just stopping for a meal, and we'll leave after eating. Please give us 6 bowls of vegetarian noodles. When she came here, a bit of loneliness appeared in her eyes. Su Hurong glanced at her. On the way here, she had heard the conversation between Linbin and Ling Yanqiu, so she naturally knew that the person in front of her was once the proprietress of this place. Now that she was revisiting the old place, she felt complicated, and I'm afraid no one could understand. Vegetarian noodles. Okay, I understand. Seeing that he couldn't stop her, the waiter could only obey and ran away. When a young guy was still full of opinions and complained, Sisterling, only vegetarian noodles? I just smelled the aroma of stewed meat. Of course, I don't care, but Sister Suren is still pregnant. For the sake of the child, we have to have a few bowls of meat soup or something. As he said that, he looked at the suitcase in his hand with disdain. There was a full 100,000 in cash in it. It was enough to carry so much money and still eat other women's soft rice. Su Hurong explained weakly. My name is not Suren, my name is Su Hurong. Linbin said, that's fine, and I guess, if you want to eat meat now, it will be a lot fresher than usual, and it's cheaper. Wen Yang asked curiously, why? Because the black sandstorm is coming? Didn't the waiter just tell you the reason? Linbin said, they just dealt with a few corpses. They can't be preserved in the black sandstorm anyway, so they might as well sell them to you at half price. Wen Yang was shocked. Human flesh. The principal of the high school next to him vomited in response. The inn that seemed so pleasing to him just now has now turned into a demon cave that devours its prey. Keep your voice down. Anyway, it's safest to eat vegetarian food here. Ling Yanqiu looked at Linbin and sighed. It's amazing that you still remember it. That's a memory that I'll never forget. Although he knew that Ling Yanqiu had no doubts about him, in the past few days, Linbin would occasionally tell him some of the plots he knew 3 years ago through dialogue, so as to subtly improve his authenticity in her mind. The effect was also remarkable. So far, she no longer had any doubts about Linbin. Let's go. Ling Yanqiu walked into the lobby of the inn first. As the waiter said before, as soon as he entered the door, the sand wind that was whistling and wanted to blow into his body suddenly disappeared. But what followed was a strong and pungent smell of blood. The huge inn was now clearly divided into 2 waves. No, 3 waves. 2 of the waves were large in number, holding weapons and full of anger. The third group was a young man and woman. At this time, the man was hiding timidly behind a woman who was much shorter than her, looking at the tense environment in front of him with timidity. As Linbin and others stepped in, one of the group of people looked at Su Hurong, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Obviously, these people were from the West Factory. Although Ling Yanqiu did not leave any survivors this time, he killed all the people in the West Factory at that time, so that everyone did not see Su Hurong's portrait. But just based on the clues and intelligence, seeing Su Hurong, they knew that the woman in front of them must be the person they were looking for. Sorry, I disturbed you. We have no intention of participating in your fight. We will leave after dinner. Ling Yanqiu acted very calmly. If it was before, she would definitely run away first when seeing this situation. But now, after a detailed discussion with Linbin, she has understood. If you want Zhao Hualien to show up, you have to be in danger. It is too stupid to do it deliberately, but now that you are directly exposed, it is difficult to run away. Maybe they could use Su Hurong's presence to lure Zhao Hualien out. Linbin's eyes swept over these people. He thought of the people from the West Factory, Chang Xiaoan and Feng Lidao and Gu Xiaotang. This kind of security, that he had already known the plot and the cause and effect, even though he had done nothing, was really perfect. But he always felt that something was wrong. Abin, there is blood. Someone really died. Wen Yang quietly poked Linbin and pointed to the ground. Sure enough, on the coarse bluestone ground, you could still see the blood stains left by the body after it was dragged. Although they had tried hard to wash it with clean water, the fishy smell was still hard to hide. This was the smell they smelt when they entered the door. Wait. Lin Bin's heart was slightly shocked. Someone died? That's not right. According to the plot, a fight did break out here, but it was just a tentative fight. Both sides were very restrained. Not to mention casualties, there was no blood at all. Something was wrong with the plot so quickly. But I haven't started to interfere yet. Especially since Langmanin is located deep in the desert. How could it change easily? Is it because I killed all those people from the West Factory? Or is it because Yang Yuxuan's identity as a descendant appeared, causing the West Factory to shift its attention to him? Lin Bin glanced at Su Hurong and then naturally looked away. He was not surprised by the mess of the plot. Whether they or Deng Yang, they are people who do not belong to this world. Now they suddenly appear, especially because of his existence. Ji Zuoyang, who was not dead in the previous plot, died tragically at the hands of Ling Yanqiu. Now they are divided into groups to act. The impact is even greater. If the subsequent actions still rely entirely on the plot, then I'm afraid that they will not even know how to die. From this point of view, they have just entered, and they haven't done anything yet, but the plot has begun to change, and those secret realms that have been entered countless times by others are afraid that they will be even more chaotic. It seems that whether here or in the future, we must be careful about the existence of secret realms. Lin Bin quietly warned himself in his heart. Chapter 41. Antiquing and Restoration of Ming. Fuck. Finally, this dispute came to an end with the foreign woman's curse. Or the enemy didn't want to play with them at all. Since Lin Bin and his men came in, the attention of the people in the West Factory has been focused on them. But Ling Yanqiu and others were too calm, so they couldn't figure out their depth. In addition, although these people seemed easy to bully, the woman in the lead seemed to be difficult to bully. If they acted rashly, the people they had provoked before might join forces to deal with them, and they would lose more than they gained. The leader had hemorrhoids on his face. Lin Bin knew that he was Tan Luzi, the second in command of the West Factory. He was quite powerful. He whispered, "Go to the post station immediately to ask the supervisor. Tell him about the situation here, and then ask for support, saying that we have found the person we are looking for." The voice was very low, but Lin Bin's innate body and sharp five senses made him hear clearly what Ling Yanqiu might not have heard. Yes. Someone behind him responded and hurried out. "It seems that we can't leave for the time being," Ling Yanqiu said. "Boss, please send the plain noodles to the room. 3 rooms upstairs. Let's take a rest after eating, and it won't be too late to leave when the storm really comes." 3 rooms? Wen Yang looked at Principal Gao with disdain, wanting to ask whether he should share a room with Principal Gao or with Teacher Bei, but the solemn atmosphere around him made him unable to even joke. Although he had been in the secret realm for several days, but he was basically on the road, and the corpses he saw were all their enemies. After they died, they were kicked into the river, and he couldn't see the real death. But after entering here, the bloodstains on the ground and the surrounding aura clearly showed that there were really dead people here, and they came here, and it was very likely that a second wave of battle would break out at any time, and he had no self-protection ability at all. If Ling Yanqiu and the others wanted to leave, Tan Luzi would definitely stop them immediately. If he saw the enemy escaping and didn't take action, the governor would not forgive him at that time. But now they took the initiative to go upstairs to rest. This put them within their surveillance range. Tan Luzi waved his hand, signaling his subordinates not to stop them and to keep a close watch. Several people went upstairs. Soon, plain noodles were served. After the 6 people finished eating, they went to rest. "Teacher Bei, you should have a good rest," Lin Bin said. "Don't worry, everything is still under my control." Since he became a congenital body, he can feel the magical changes around him. For example, now, he can hear that in the next room, Wei Yang is arguing with the principal of the high school about who sleeps on the bed and who sleeps on the floor. It's really hard for this heartless person. And in the next room, Ling Yanqiu is helping Su Hurong comb her hair, and the two whisper some intimate words. Suddenly, the window was pushed open. Lin Bin's pupils shrank slightly, and a slightly moved expression appeared on his face. At this time, he was obviously listening with his ears, but a very real picture was outlined in his mind. The window was half open, and a figure whose face could not be seen clearly, but whose body was very agile, stepped on the windowsill with one foot, and kicked on the frame with one foot. He was holding something in his hand, and that thing was dripping with liquid. Was it blood or water? He scolded. Long time no see, Yankee. Do you know how big a risk you took to come back to this inn at this time? Do you know that, if it weren't for me, this person would have already run to the post station and reported to the people of the West Factory about your current whereabouts? Lin Yankee looked at the person in front of him infatuatedly and smiled bitterly. But if I didn't take such a big risk, would you show up? You. I don't want to look for you for my whole life. 3 years is long enough. I have provoked the East and West Factory. I don't know how long I can live. I don't want to die quietly on the way to find you. Do you understand? Even if I die, I want to die by your side, just like Sister Qiu. This time, the person who changed the window smiled bitterly. Needless to say, the person who came was Zhao Huayan. Lin Bin whispered, Sister Bei, no matter what happens later, don't say anything. Let me handle everything, okay? Okay, little brother, what happened? Nothing. It just depends on whether we can get the biggest help from the treasure this time. 3 years ago, Zhao Huayan was beaten by Kao Shaoqin and had no power to fight back. If Kao Shaoqin hadn't underestimated the enemy, none of them would have survived. But 3 years later, Zhao Huayan's strength has improved greatly. Even when facing the Western Factory Supervisor Yu Huashan, he is not inferior at all. Although Lin Bin's eternal life secret has reached a certain level of skill, he is not confident that he can resist Yu Huashan and his subordinates, and he has to rely on Zhao Huayan. Sure enough, a moment later, there was a knock on the door. Lin Bin opened the door and saw a man in a tight suit standing outside the door, and at this time, Lin Yankee was standing behind him. She said to Lin Bin and Zhao Huayan at the same time, "Look who this is." Lin Bin exclaimed in surprise, "Uncle Zhao." He knew that the next moment would be the moment of witnessing a miracle. Zhao Huayan said in surprise, You are. I have given up my previous name. Now I'm Lin Bin. Uncle Zhao, you can just call me Abin. No, I should call you Uncle Zhao. Lin Bin let him in with surprise and said with a smile, "Sister, come and pay your respects to your benefactor." Although Beiji was puzzled, she still followed Lin Bin's instructions, came over to learn the common sense of the past few days, and said to Zhao Huayan, "Beiji pays her respects to my benefactor. I changed my name. That's right. If I still called myself by my previous name, I'm afraid I would never escape the pursuit of the East and West Factory." Zhao Huayan was not shocked. He sighed. "It's only been a little over 3 years. Has it been so long? I didn't expect you to have grown so big. To be honest, if Yan Qiu hadn't introduced you, I might not have recognized you." Lin Bin said, "Uncle Zhao has changed a lot too. You have aged a lot, just like Sister Ling. I can't believe that only 3 years have passed. Living in the open air will naturally make you look old." Zhao Huayan said halfway, before he realized the meaning of Lin Bin's words. He instinctively turned his head, with a trace of guilt on his face. "Isn't it? 3 years ago, Jin Xiangai was full of charm. Even in a place like the desert, her skin was as white as cream, which shows how much she took care of her skin. But now, in 3 years, she has changed from a charming beauty to a yellow-faced woman, all for him. How could he not be moved?" But in the past 3 years, Zhao Huayan has already gotten used to escaping. He changed the subject and said, "Abin, why did you follow Yan Qiu here? Do you know that it's very dangerous here?" "Of course I know. In fact, I came here to find Uncle Zhao. I want to ask Uncle Zhao for a favor. I want to avenge my father." "Revenge?" Zhao Huayan said, "But Kao Shaoqin is dead." Lin Bin said righteously, "But the East Factory is still there, and now there is even a West Factory. If we don't take action to curb it, there may be more South and North factories. I have taken revenge, but what about the thousands of innocent people who have suffered from the oppression of the East and West factories like me? Who will avenge them?" Zhao Huayan asked. "Then what do you plan to do?" "I don't know if Uncle Zhao has heard of the treasure of Beishang country." Lin Bin said, "I once met a strange man named Clay Buddha. I saved his granddaughter and was indebted to him. After he learned that I wanted revenge, He read my fortune and told me that my hope lies in the treasure of Beishang Kingdom. Legend has it that there is a dragon vein in the treasure of Beishang Kingdom. This dragon vein was originally the support of Beishang Kingdom's luck, but it was broken with the demise of Beishang Kingdom. But now it belongs to the Ming Dynasty. Over the years, it has been nourished by the dragon energy of the Ming Dynasty and has regained its vitality. Zhao Huayan. What? It's very simple to take revenge. As long as we can cut off this dragon vein, we can cut off part of the Ming Dynasty's national destiny. Although it won't cause the Ming Dynasty to be destroyed, it shouldn't be difficult for the royal family to collapse. When the new emperor comes to the throne, the East and West factories, as the capable men of the previous emperor, will naturally no longer be valued. Lin Bin said, so my goal is very simple. Cut the dragon vein, seize the treasure, overthrow the Qing dynasty, cough cough, return King Ming to this world. The collection is not strong. Begging for collection support. Oh. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 40 To the Source of Chaos. Zhao Huayan was confused by these words. It's not that he had never doubted whether Lord Yang's children were fake. Even after listening to Lin Yangqiu's words, and knowing that this young man knew a lot about their past 3 years ago, Zhao Huayan still only believed it 70% or 80%. But now, he had to believe it all. This absurd way of revenge. If he didn't hate the Ming dynasty to the extreme, how could he believe in ghosts and gods? Lord Yang was honest all his life, but after his death, even his body was beheaded and fed to dogs. This child has lived in a foreign land for several years. He may have been thinking hard about revenge, but couldn't find it, so he was obsessed and actually believed in this wild way. Lin Bin smiled bitterly and said, I know Uncle Zhao, you won't believe it. In fact, I didn't believe it before, but that clay Buddha has been predicting fate all his life, and he has never failed. After I predicted his name, he frankly said that, if he leaked the secret of heaven, he would be punished by heaven and die. Then there was a thunderbolt that fell, and killed him alive. I had to believe it. Beiji looked sad, but he couldn't help but sigh secretly in his heart. It was all Wei Yang's fault. He had led Lin Bin astray. What a good child, but now he tells lies one after another. He told them so vividly that, if I were not the person involved, I might believe it. This. Zhao Huayan and Lin Yangqiu exchanged glances. They had wanted to comfort him with gentle words before, but now they were a little surprised and out for laughter hearing what he said. Zhao Huayan said, but your enemy is the East Factory, and the people are innocent. The dragon vein of Beishang Kingdom does not belong to the Ming Dynasty. It just absorbs the luck of the Ming Dynasty to reshape itself. Cutting off the dragon vein will not cause the Ming Dynasty to perish. After the replacement, maybe a good emperor will come to power, and the people can live a good life. At worst, the new emperor will grant amnesty to the world and let a large number of humiliated good people out of the cell. Zhao Huayan asked, do you know how to enter the treasure of Beishang Kingdom? Lin Bin said, it is not difficult to enter Beishang Kingdom. There is only one entrance, but there are thousands of exits. It is very difficult to get out. The only treasure map is hidden in the hands of the girl called the alien. Her real name is Chang Zian. She and the owner and the waiter of the inn are all people who conspired to get the treasure. Sisterling, you used to be the proprietress here. You must be very familiar with the secret entrance of the tunnel here. Can you lead us in quietly and find a way to get the treasure exit map from her? At this point, Zhao Huayan and Lin Yangqiu obviously understood. Lin Bin came here not to find Zhao Huayan, but to find Chang Zian and the others, to get the treasure map in her hand. He has always come here for revenge. Lin Yangqiu nodded and said, okay, come with me. At this point, whether there is a dragon vein or not, in their eyes, this sunny and handsome boy has actually been blinded by the flames of hatred. If he is not allowed to find the treasure, he will never give up. It is better to help him. The worst result can also help him resolve his heart knot, and by the way, he can also get a treasure that will make him worry-free for the rest of his life. It is not enough to return empty-handed. Come with me. Lin Yangqiu nodded and glanced at the two. Lin Bin said, "Sister, you must be careful." "Understood." Beiji nodded honestly, looking at Lin Bin's eyes with relief, as if she really looked at her brother. The younger brother is so amazing. It seems that he has done nothing, but now it seems to be very close to the treasure. As for the suspicious points, such as Lin Bin clearly said that he got the information from Lin Yangqiu before, but now he has taken the initiative between the two of them. She had already selectively ignored them. She is not a reincarnation, so she does not need to pay attention to these. Under the leadership of Lin Yangqiu, the three quietly left the inn. Although Lin Bin did not practice Qingdang, he was protected by the immortal True Key, and his footsteps were light, even more silent than Lin Yangqiu. Hiding outside the inn, Lin Yangqiu led the two of them to explore in the desert for a while, and then found an iron chain in the desert, but the entrance seemed to have not been used for many years, and was very awkward. In the end, it was Zhao Huaiyan who pulled hard to remove the heavy sand on it, revealing a dark tunnel that could accommodate one person. "Let's go." Lin Yangqiu led the way, took the two people in, and closed the tunnel again. After a while, it was buried by wind and sand, and there was no clue at all. The three of them followed the secret passage underground, and walked back into the inn. However, the inn they entered at this time seemed like the dark side of the inn. It was pitch black all around, with sharp and jagged rocks. The footsteps were deep and shallow. "Abin, you have not been idle in the past few years. You have practiced kung fu well." Zhao Huaiyan was originally worried that Lin Bin would not be able to walk steadily here, but he did not expect that his steps were steady and agile, and he could see things as clearly as day in this dark environment. Lin Bin said seriously, "I have no reason to be idle. I even have to practice hard for 8 hours every day, otherwise I can't sleep well. I can't let Uncle Zhao and you guys down for your sacrifice." "Hush, shut up." Lin Yangqiu suddenly turned around and hushed, and his steps became much lighter. The three of them carefully moved forward. After a moment, a faint voice sounded in the ears of the three people. After getting closer, they could hear clearly. Wasn't it the second of the three groups of people who were clearly divided in the inn before? But at this moment, they gathered together in great harmony. Obviously, it was just a show before. There are so many troublemakers in the Beishang National Treasure this time. It seems that, if we don't think of a way, even if the black sandstorm really comes, they may not leave. If they don't leave, although we can hide in the secret passage, once they find the secret passage, I'm afraid we will have to fight with them before finding the treasure. By then, even if we can win, we will definitely be injured and have no strength to move the treasure. We must drive them away. One of the two women who came in the last batch seems to be the target of those dog officials. I wonder if we can quietly capture her and give her to those dog officials. No, Xiaoan has offended those people. Judging from my experience with those dog officials, they don't mind cutting Xiaoan's throat before leaving. The three of them approached quietly, listening quietly. When he heard that they were indeed here for the treasure, Zhao Huaiyan looked at Lin Bin deeply, thinking that this child really made too many preparations for the treasure. Actually, it's not that there is no way. The few of them discussed for a long time, and through their conversation, it really matched what Lin Bin said before. The treasure only has an exit map, and it will be opened after the black sandstorm. They only have 1 hour to enter the treasure. Wait. After discussing for a long time how to drive away those dog officials, the shopkeeper smoked his pipe and said, "You should know why they suddenly killed people." Gu Xiaotang hesitated and said, "Because Feng Lidao?" Yes, it was just a dispute of will before, but when they saw you disrespecting Feng Lidao, they immediately started to kill people. The shopkeeper looked at the alien girl Chang Xian. He said, "I'm afraid they may have mistaken Feng Lidao for a big shot." Feng Lidao was startled when he heard this, and hesitated. "Do you want me to pretend to be that big shot, to trick these people away?" Lin Bin's heart was also slightly moved. He thought that the source of the chaos in the plot was not me, but this Feng Lidao? Others may not know, but how could Lin Bin not know? Feng Lidao did cause a dispute between the two sides at that time, but it was far from the point of murder. Chapter 43 The Third Reincarnation. Hearing this proposal, Gu Xiaotang and Chang Xiaoan hurriedly rejected it. They all had a deep affection for Feng Lidao. If he was asked to do such a thing, once he was exposed, they might not even have time to rescue him, and Feng Lidao would be cut into pieces on the spot. Feng Lidao was also hesitant, but it seemed that he considered the importance of the treasure. After hesitating for a while, he still gritted his teeth and nodded. I agree, give it a try. If I succeed, I will become rich and powerful. If I fail, I will immediately shout for help. Anyway, I rely on this mouth to make a living in the underworld. I don't believe that I can't fool these brainless dog officials to death. You are so brave. People say that Feng Lidao is as timid as a mouse. Now it seems to be completely nonsense. I think you are very brave. The tall and strong Ha gang next to him laughed and praised. After that, several people began to discuss how to help Feng Lidao fool people and how to provide timely assistance if he was exposed. Although they let him take risks, they obviously did not intend to let him really die. Seeing that they could not hear any useful information, Lin Bin and the other two quietly retreated. Zhao Huayan pondered and said, it seems that they intend to drive all of us out and monopolize the treasure. He had not yet realized that the purpose of his trip had been quietly turned by Lin Bin to the treasure. Isn't it just right? Uncle Zhao, you are a martial arts expert. It's just right to attack Changxian and take away the treasure map while Feng Lidao is deceiving those people from the West Factory. Lin Bin said, at that time, all of their attention will be on Feng Lidao, which will be convenient for you to act. Okay. Zhao Huayan agreed, and there was no chivalrous reserve that he could not attack a woman. Lin Bin nodded with satisfaction. He thought that it seemed that Zhao Huayan, the strongest fighter, had been tied to his warship. He had no idea of sharing the treasure with Feng Lidao and others. You know, there is a rating system in the secret realm. There is no doubt that the former will be rated higher and rewarded more than the former. To obtain a complete treasure alone and to enter the treasure with others. If possible, why not strive for a higher evaluation? With a high evaluation, you will have more say in teaming up with a reincarnationist in the future, and everyone will like to cooperate with a capable reincarnationist. Lei Jun got an F grade once, and he had seen him crying and wanting to appeal every day. The three of them quietly came out of the corridor and returned to their respective residences, as if they had never been out. But Lin Bin had sharp ears and eyes, and could clearly hear heavy footsteps walking towards the house where Zicheng and others were temporarily resting. He knocked on the door, and the door opened immediately, welcoming him in. The plot was obviously messed up in the front, but it was inexplicably rounded back in the back. More importantly, the person who disrupted the plot was not him, the reincarnationist. The person who rounded off the plot was not him, the reincarnationist. This is very strange. But unfortunately, I don't need to follow the plot. I can follow the plot if I can get benefits, but if I can't get benefits, then I will completely mess up the plot and then get benefits. Lin Bin muttered secretly and knocked on the window gently. 3 long and 2 short. It was the code agreed upon before. A subtle sound of fluttering clothes sounded. If it weren't for Lin Bin's immortal true key blessing, I'm afraid he wouldn't have noticed this subtle movement. Zhao Huayan had already sneaked towards Chang Xiao's room. In the small inn, there was a turbulent undercurrent. Everyone has calculations. Unfortunately, Lin Bin only wanted the treasure. Just wait patiently. After a long time, a hoarse crow sounded, which was the code agreed upon before. It was so easy to get it. Lin Bin was immediately surprised. The treasure map was actually not for him. If he completed the task, he could return directly, even if he was in the treasure. But by then, Zhao Huayan, Lin Qiuan and others would be trapped to death in it. Lin Bin is not a heartless person. Although he used a name to drive the two people, it does not mean that he will really use them as tools. Naturally, he will try his best to seek a chance for them to survive. Moreover, he can cut off Chang Xiao's greed for the treasure. After all, once they go in, they can't get out. No matter how greedy they are, they will not be happy to die with the treasure. Lin Bin stood up and was about to meet Zhao Huayan, but the door was suddenly knocked. Lin Bin sat down and asked, who? Hello, brother Lin, I'm Feng Lidao. I want to meet you. Feng Lidao? Didn't he go to fool the group of people in the West Factory? Why did he come to me? Did he find that the treasure had been taken away by Zhao Huayan, and he wanted to find a way to take it back? Lin Bin touched the Desert Eagle Shura on his waist, thinking that with my current strength, it would be a bit difficult to beat you Huashin, but it would not be a problem to beat you. He stood up and opened the door. The man outside the room was dressed as a scholar. He was handsome, but there was always a trace of timidity between his eyebrows. He must be handsome, otherwise he would be described as a rat. Isn't it Feng Lideo? Lin Bin asked. Brother Feng, what do you want to talk to me about? Feng Lideo asked. Can I go in and talk? There are women in the room. I'm afraid it's not convenient. We are all modern children, so there is no need to worry about these pretentious things, right? Feng Lideo raised his wrist, revealing an exquisite watch. He smiled and said, or do you need to see this thing before you can understand it? Lin Bin's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he said in surprise, reincarnation table? Feng Lideo smiled and said, can you let me in, classmate Lin Bin? You are. I'm a reincarnationist in the extraordinary realm. My reincarnation name is Wang Guiyang Heohan. You can call me Zheng Wang Guiyang. I'm the reincarnationist sent by the Reincarnation Association to save these ordinary people. Feng Lideo, or Zheng Wang Guiyang said seriously, because this time only two inexperienced reincarnationists entered it, and ordinary people were involved. The Reincarnation Association is very concerned about this matter, and sent me in to assist you, as soon as possible. What? Is there a new reincarnationist coming to save us? Beiji leaned over in surprise, her eyes swept across Zheng Wang Guiyang's face, and then she was stunned. He was surprised and said, you are not. Zheng Wang Guiyang explained, I used something called a roll card, which allows reincarnations to take on the identity of people in the secret realm. This is also to integrate into this secret realm as quickly as possible, so that I can use the power of the people in the secret realm to save people. Lin Bin apologized. I'm sorry, mainly because I saw you hanging out with those people in the secret realm before, and I didn't expect you to be a reincarnation. If it's convenient, can you let me see your reincarnation watch? I also need to confirm my identity. Lin Bin nodded and showed the reincarnation watch on his wrist. The two watches are exactly the same. It seems to be me without a doubt. Zheng Wang Guiyang asked, you are Lin Bin, then where is Deng Yang? And why are there only 3 citizens around you? What about the remaining 3? Lin Bin said, we have a disagreement, so we act separately. Stupid. Zheng Wang Guiyang was immediately angry. You two are newcomers. You may freeze to death if you keep each other together. As a result, you have to act separately. Are you stupid? I'm sorry, I pay more attention to internal unity than to external affairs. It is more dangerous to sleep in the same bed, but dream different dreams. Lin Bin asked, Mr. Zheng, you came to me. Is there something? I'm here to ask for your help. Zheng Wang Guiyang said, I want to ask you to help me kill someone. Who? The governor of the Western Factory. Yu Huashan. Chapter 44. Sorry for hitting the wrong target. Lin Bin asked back, Yu Huashan? Why do we want to kill him? Because he conflicts with our mission. Zheng Wang Guiyang said, you may not know that this face of mine is not my real face, but is directly projected into the body of Feng Lideo. Lin Bin asked, then what? This mission is actually not simple. We need to obtain the treasure, but both those tatters and the Western Factory are obstacles to us. But now, these people from the Western Factory obviously misunderstood me as Yu Huashan, which means that my face is exactly the same as Yu Huashan. We can completely use the power of the Western Factory to drive out the tatters and then benefit from it. Lin Bin suddenly realized, you want to impersonate Yu Huashan? Zheng Wang Guiyang praised, although you are just a newcomer, your thinking is infinitely close to that of a reincarnation. Not bad, very good. I really want to impersonate Yu Huashan and use the power of the Western Factory to help us open the entrance to the treasure, but the premise is that the real Yu Huashan does not show up, otherwise, once we are exposed, we will definitely die miserably. Lin Bin asked, do you know where Yu Huashan is? Of course. Zheng Wang Guiyang smiled and said, didn't you hear it just now? They asked me to pretend to be Yu Huashan, to spy on the secrets. I got a lot of information, and found out that the real Yu Huashan should be waiting for news at the post station 50 miles away, but the person who delivered the news before should have been killed by your teammates. He praised, to be honest, I really admire you. I was able to break into the team of these people because I used the role card, but you actually gained the trust of these people as an outsider. In particular, Zhao Huayan is extremely alert, but he can be used by you. It feels like it is possible for you to become a saint-level reincarnationist in the future. Lin Bin was surprised and said, "Did you just discover us? It's not difficult to hide it from others, but it's a little difficult to hide it from me. Especially since I know you exist. I have been prepared for it, and I can still easily find your trace if I try hard." Lin Bin said, "You praise me too much." Zheng Wangyang asked, "You haven't answered me your answer yet. Why don't you do it yourself? The two of us are not reincarnationists who entered the same batch, so we can't be considered teammates, right? Because I'm not completely sure. My strength is naturally much stronger than Feng Lidao, but Yu Huashan is the supervisor of the Western factory. I heard that he is so powerful that few people can match him. I'm not completely sure that I can defeat him, so I need the assistance of another reincarnation." Zheng Wangyang asked, "When you just entered the inn, I noticed that your waist was slightly bulging. You must be carrying modern weapons, right?" Lin Bin nodded. "That's great. Even if my strength is above Yu Huashan, he still has a lot of elite soldiers around him. If I rush over directly, I will be surrounded by the enemy unless I can kill him in a very short time. So I must kill Yu Huashan as quickly as possible, and this requires your gun. What do you need me to do? It's very simple. You will use your pistol to attack first. You should know that this kind of weapon has never appeared in this world. It is very likely that the first blow will seriously injure Yu Huashan. I will rush out at lightning speed and kill him. Even if we get into a fight, he will need to guard against your gun and will not be able to concentrate on fighting me. Naturally, I will have the advantage. After killing him, I will take him into an independent residence and destroy his body as quickly as possible. By then, they will all recognize me as Yu Huashan." Zheng Wangyang said, "Of course, if you are sure that you can kill Yu Huashan with one shot when he is moving at high speed, I can attack first. It's your choice." "Sorry, I was just a liberal arts student before, and I only recently started the most basic firearms training for martial arts students, so I can't shoot very accurately. I can shoot statically. Then I'll attack first, and you'll follow up." "Okay," Zheng Wangyang said. "Also, our impersonation of Yu Huashan is very secret. Don't tell anyone, understand? Especially Gu Xiaotang and the others, because Feng Lidao definitely doesn't have the ability to kill Yu Huashan. If they know that Feng Lidao is no longer Feng Lidao, then we will have more enemies." "Okay," Lin Bin asked, "then when will we act? Do you agree? I was originally worried about how to deal with the people from the West factory, and I didn't expect you to suddenly appear and help me solve the biggest problem. It's just a little risk. We'll set off in half an hour. There are horses outside the inn. Now I'm wearing the identity of Yu Huashan, and they won't say anything if I ride away 2 horses from the West factory." "Okay, I'll pick you up in half an hour." Zheng Wangyang turned and left. Beiji didn't say anything the whole time, for fear of delaying Lin Bin's discussion of business with others. But when she heard that he was going to do something dangerous, she couldn't help but worriedly said, "Do you really want to listen to him? Sister Bei, do you have any good suggestions? I just didn't expect that there was a 9th person besides the 8 of us. The 3rd reincarnationist. When did he come in?" "I don't know, but he knows a lot of information about us. I heard that he speaks very measuredly, and the reincarnation table should not be fake, right?" Lin Bin asked. "We should be the first group of people to enter this reincarnation space, right?" Beiji nodded and said, "That's for sure." The crack in this secret realm appeared suddenly. "Well, then, I always feel that this person has bad intentions." Beiji said quickly, "I don't know why. I feel a very heavy, weird aura on him, and he, a senior reincarnationist, actually cooperates with you, a newcomer, and he even lets you choose first. I always feel that his attitude is too friendly." "Well, I actually feel that too." "Then I plan to agree to him." Lin Bin smiled and said, "Sister Bei, you have to know that this is a secret realm. It is basically impossible to complete the task without taking some risks. But it's okay, I have my own plans. Lin Bin thought for a moment and murmured, I may have a little idea of where the source of the chaos in the plot is. What? Nothing, Sister Bay. Remember, after I go out, you must follow Ling Yanqiu closely, okay? She used to be the proprietress here. If anything dangerous really happens, her side will definitely be the safest place. Lin Bin said, I'm going out for a while, and I'm going to go out with Zheng Wangyang to assassinate Yu Huashan later. Beiji was surprised and said, are you really going to go? Of course, this may be the easiest way to complete this task, Lin Bin said meaningfully. Half an hour later, Zheng Wangyang really came to invite Lin Bin again. Lin Bin first showed him the Desert Eagle Shura Liang to make sure he was indeed armed. Then, the two quietly went to the stables, led 2 war horses from the West factory, and ran towards the post station. Lin Bin didn't know how to ride a horse, but his sense of balance was now ridiculously strong, and he just let the war horse follow Zheng Wangyang's horse in front, and it was also steady. 50 miles. In just over an hour, the two had already arrived successfully. They dismounted nearby and tied their horses to a stone pier. Then the two quietly lurked into the post station. Zheng Wangyang had obviously done a lot of homework, and he took Lin Bin carefully across several strict defense lines, and he was not discovered. They lurked on the second floor of a dilapidated and uninhabited old building. 100 meters away, through the half-open window, a figure could be seen sitting with his face in profile. The face was indeed 70% similar to Zheng Wangyang. I will give you a signal after I get to the location, and you shoot. Zheng Wangyang sneered. I'm afraid he never thought that there would be a weapon that could kill people 100 steps away. Lin Bin nodded. Zheng Wangyang carefully used his Qinggong to lurk over. After a moment, he was only a few meters away from the building. In the dark night, he waved to Lin Bin, indicating that he could take action. Lin Bin held the Desert Eagle Shura, raised it, and aimed carefully. A gunshot rang out, waking up the originally silent post station. In the distance, a figure fell downward. Zheng Wangyang was shot. Sorry, I missed. Lin Bin apologized in a low voice without sincerity. As for whether the other party could hear it, he was not sure. Please read on. Chapter 45 Identity Doll. It was said that the shot was off target, but Lin Bin's hand holding the gun did not shake at all, and he aimed at the target that he had just shot. No matter how powerful the Desert Eagle Shura is, it is just a pistol. It is good enough to hit the target from 100 steps away. The lethality is really limited. Therefore, he failed to kill him with one shot. He fired a few more shots in succession, but the opponent was prepared and turned around to dodge. He rushed towards Lin Bin, getting closer and closer. Seeing that the gun could not hit the target, Lin Bin put away the Desert Eagle Shura and ran out of the post station without hesitation. Behind him, Zheng Wangyang chased him closely. His movements were obviously faster than Lin Bin, who did not know Qinggong, and he had rushed in front of Lin Bin in the blink of an eye. At this time, his face was cold, and his expression could not hide his deep anger. At his shoulder, blood splattered visible to the naked eye. Obviously, Lin Bin's tens of thousands of bullets were not fired in vain. Although the first shot was at a considerable distance, it still caused him harm as he was caught off guard. Sorry, I missed the target. Lin Bin slowly stepped back 2 steps and said apologetically, you also know that the accurate range of a pistol is actually only a few dozen meters, about 50 or 60 meters. You are making things difficult for me, Abin. Zheng Wangyang asked coldly, what about the last few shots? Because I missed the target, I thought I might as well kill them to silence them. Otherwise, you will find trouble with me. Lin Bin said helplessly, I have no choice. Zheng Wangyang took a deep breath and asked, how did you detect my flaw? What flaw? Speak frankly, Lin Bin, how did you find out that I'm not reincarnation? I was just a little suspicious at first, because I felt that you came too abruptly, but I smelled the smell of urine on you. As far as I know, only eunuchs who have been castrated will have that smell, because their lower body is always leaking urine. No matter how noble their status is, no matter how much they use perfume to cover it up, it is useless. Don't doubt my sense of smell. That was blessed by the secret of immortality. Lin Bin smiled and said, that's enough to let me know your flaw, Zheng. No, I should call you Finglideo. No, it should be Yu Gong Gong. Yu Huashan's face turned ugly instantly. Of course, there is another more important piece of evidence. That is that Lin Bin is familiar with the plot. If it were a normal reincarnation, even if he smelled this smell, he probably wouldn't take it too seriously. People are not allowed to have body odor, so what? But if you think about the previous plot, that was wrong. Why was it just a test that was only a taste, but in the end, someone died? This is not in the plot. But what if Fingladeo is not Fingladeo at all, nor is he the reincarnation Zhenghuanggang, but Yu Huashan, the governor of the West Factory? Seeing his governor being flirted with is happiness for men, but for eunuchs. Everyone in the West Factory felt that their master was insulted, so they acted bravely and acted a little ruthlessly, which is understandable. I didn't expect that I would be exposed here. There is no other way. Time is really limited. The treasure of Beishang Kingdom will be opened soon, and I can't make a detailed layout. Yu Huashan showed a bit of loneliness on his face and sighed lightly. In order to gain your trust, I tortured your companion Deng Yang and forced him to tell me all the details about the reincarnations he knew. In order not to reveal any flaws, I also asked the 3 ordinary people about your common sense in the real world. Unexpectedly, I was not exposed in the common sense of the real world, but because of my crippled body. It's also ironic. Lin Bin said, the one you asked me to aim at is the real Fingladeo. You let him put on your clothes first, and then let me kill him, and then you put on his clothes, so that you can regain your identity openly, become Yu Huashan, and gain my trust. You have gone to such great lengths, just to deal with Zhao Huayan. Zhao Huayan is just a minor figure, not worthy of my attention. Yu Huashan said, I did this for you. By tricking you out, I can ensure that you won't die accidentally in the subsequent attack. To deal with Zhao Huayan? That's just a side job. My real purpose is to keep you by my side and make you your teammate. Lin Bin asked in surprise, why? Yu Huashan slowly treated the wound on his shoulder and sprinkled some white medicine powder on it. Said, Lin Bin, you are not from this world. You came to this world only to obtain the treasure of Beishang Kingdom. So, as long as someone can help you obtain the treasure of Beishang Kingdom, can you cooperate with that person? Lin Bin, in theory, it is true. Yu Huashan said lightly, so you chose to cooperate with Zhao Huayan, but you don't seem to have thought that, if you choose me, with the power of the West Factory, you can easily obtain the treasure of Beishang Kingdom, and there will be no obstacles. We are much more useful than Zhao Huayan. In fact, I thought about it. Lin Bin shook his head and said, but you are too high and mighty. If I go to you, it is not cooperation at all, but offering treasures. All I can get is some residue that flows out of your fingers, and I have to secretly be glad that I have not been demolished, and I sing praises to you for this. Just like Deng Yang, I guess he should want to cooperate with you, right? Is he dead now? Not dead yet, but soon. The reason he is still alive is because you are very useful to me. Yu Huashan said, you are right. I really would not cooperate with you fairly, but that was before. Now, I want to cooperate with you fairly. I can guarantee your life safety. I can help you enter the territory where the treasure of Beishang Kingdom is hidden, and I can help you complete the task. Is this sincerity enough? Then what do you need me to do for you? I just want you to complete the task, and then I will have priority to enter the crack at the exit of the secret realm. Yu Huashan raised his wrist and said, this reincarnation watches my alliance and attempt. Reincarnators can enter and exit the secret realm freely, and ordinary people will also be mistakenly involved in the secret realm. Then, as a person in the secret realm, if I get the reincarnation watch without seeking to become a reincarnator, can I enter the real world? This is what I need you to do for me. Complete the task and open the exit of the secret realm. I want to pass through the secret realm, so you can trust me completely, because if you die, and the task cannot be completed, I will never be able to open the exit of the secret realm again. Lin Bin asked, what if I don't agree? Then I can only take the second route, kill you, and then snipe all the reincarnations who will come in the future throughout the Ming dynasty, and directly invade this secret realm, where I'm into the real world. Either you take me there, or you don't let me go, then I will fight. Yu Huashan has a feminine face, delicate movements, but the tone he speaks is extremely domineering. He said, war or peace, life or death. Lin Bin, it's up to you. Lin Bin asked, can I know why you are so persistent in going to the real world to treat illness? Deng Yang said that the real world has advanced technology and medical methods are far superior to those of the Ming dynasty. He didn't lie, so I want to give it a try. What disease? I will tell you when you agree. Yu Huashan obviously didn't want to say more. Well, I'm sorry. It's unprecedented for people from the secret realm to enter the real world. Even I don't know what will happen in the process. What if the passage collapses because of you? Lin Bin shook his head and said, you're not worth a risk for me. Really? That's a pity. Yu Huashan raised his hand and said, you have to live. Behind him, a shadow-like figure appeared. Wait. Lin Bin waved his hand and asked, you told me so much because you need me to help you. Do you know why I told you so much? Why? Of course it's to delay time. Lin Bin raised his hand and pointed it towards the sky. There was a loud bang. A firework shot straight into the sky. The next moment, on the tall building, the figure that looked like Yu Huashan screamed. He had been dragged down the stairs alive. Please read, collect and recommend. Please support me. Chapter 46 God Assists. Feng Lidao was originally panicked. He was captured for no apparent reason, and then put on a luxurious Fei robe, tied tightly to the chair, and put on a big banner outside. He looked like he was resting leisurely, but he knew his own business, and he was very panicked. He was afraid that this Yu Huashan was attacked by his enemies, so he used him who looked very similar to him to fight, in order to prevent an unjust death. In the past 2 days, he used various means, but the other party seemed to have been prepared for it. No matter how many tricks he had, he couldn't use any tricks under the layers of defense, especially this sitting for 2 days. 2 days without a drop of water almost exhausted all of Feng Lidao's energy. He was too lazy to move, and he accepted his fate, falling into the hands of the West Factory, which was in its heyday. Even the legendary Zhao Huaiyan would have to kneel. What's more, he was a man who made a living by talking. Until now, he just wanted to be happy. But who knew that accidents happened frequently that evening? First, there were several muffled sounds like thunder. Then, a hole was cut directly in the floor under his feet by a weapon. And from the hole, a familiar face actually emerged. Xiao Tang. Feng Lidao's voice was filled with tears, just like a bullied child seeing his parents. Asshole, you dare to be caught here without saying hello. Gu Xiao Tang came out angrily and punched Feng Lidao hard. Behind her, Chang Xiaoan and others also came out, shouting dissatisfiedly, Feng Lidao, do you know how much we lost for you? You, why are you all here? Feng Lidao cried with joy. The surprise came so suddenly after a sudden turn of events. Don't talk too much, Xiaoan, take Feng Lidao and leave first. Let's kill all the castrated dogs in this post station. Gu Xiaotang rescued Feng Lidao, and a big stone in her heart fell. But when she looked back, she thought that the man who had been with her for the past few days was actually another man. He also deceived her, and made her say a lot of things from her heart, and she became much closer to him. She could not suppress the anger in her heart. She rushed out of the house. The hidden weapons in her hands shot at the enemy like a rain of flowers. Many elite soldiers of the Western Factory had just rushed out, and they were shot in the vitals by the hidden weapons that changed direction flexibly. Kill. Ha Gang's voice was like thunder. Holding a huge shield, he rushed into the crowd of people from the Western Factory and killed people everywhere. So that's it. You are delaying time. Yu Huashan saw the movement in the distance. He said, you said let me wait for you for half an hour, but I didn't expect that it only took you half an hour to convince the Tatters to work for you. Well, since you have recognized my weakness, you naturally have to make a countermeasure. I also made a mistake. I valued you too much and ignored this simple common sense. It seems that I have to pay attention next time. Lin Bin said, you are just a eunuch. Naturally, you can't see that Chang Xiaoan, as the leader of the Tatters, has already had a deep affection for Feng Lidao. It is not difficult to convince her as it concerns Feng Lidao's safety, not to mention that she has already fallen into our hands. You are just a eunuch. Ha 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 ha. I often heard people say this since I entered the palace and was just a little eunuch. Now I'm the supervisor of the Western factory, but I still can't escape this sentence. I'm just a eunuch. That's right, even if I have power over the world, even if I have made great achievements, I'm just a eunuch after all. Yuhuashan laughed at himself. Then be careful in your next life. Don't go to the palace and become a lackey of those powerful people. A voice with suppressed anger sounded. Zhao Hualien jumped onto the roof, carefully protected Lin Bin behind him, and said, Abin, don't say too much to this eunuch. This guy has a sinister mind. Be careful not to be bewitched by him. Cruel means? Yuhuashan shook his head and said, but this ruthless West factory supervisor in your eyes is played around by the boy in front of you who you think is pure and innocent. He saw through all my plans and even turned the tables on me, but it's okay. I'm not a person who is good at bowing my head and surrendering, killing all of you, and forcibly sending you to Beishang Kingdom. Today I'm putting my words here. You have to complete this task, whether you want to or not. You have to complete it. Shut up. Zhao Hualien jumped up and slashed at Yuhuashan with a sword. He knew that the man in front of him was the strongest enemy he had ever encountered in his life, and his strength was no less than Ko Shaokin 3 years ago. So he was merciless when he attacked. He even criticized, it's a pity that you wanted to send elite troops to wipe out all of us in one go, but we ended up luring the tiger away from the mountain. Now most of your people in the West factory are in Longmanin. You should know that Yang Qiu is the proprietress of Longmanin 3 years ago, right? She had prepared a retreat for herself many years ago and prepared explosives there, just waiting for your people to go there and blow them all up directly. So what? If you want to achieve great things, why should you be afraid of your wings? The three-edged sword in Yuhuashan's hand spun, and the sword body shook vigorously. The two short blades had broken free from the restraints and attacked Zhao Hualien's vitals. Although there was only one person, he instantly attacked Zhao Hualien from 3 directions. The two short blades interacted with the main sword through magnets, and under the casual manipulation, they could move forward and backward freely. It seemed that the 3 peerless masters were working closely together. This was not the first time Zhao Hualien had fought against Yuhuashan, so he naturally knew that the weapon in his hand was powerful. In the first battle on the boat, he was obviously not inferior to the opponent in strength, but he was suppressed and could hardly raise his head. It was because this strange weapon was too difficult to deal with. A sword protected himself tightly. From time to time, he counterattacked with a sword, which put himself in danger, but also forced Yuhuashan to look back and defend himself. And downstairs, the remaining forces of the West factory had also fought with the Tatars. Gu Xiaotang and others attacked in anger, and blood was splattered everywhere. The elite people of the West factory who had left were obviously no match for them, and they were killed and retreated step by step. But upstairs, Yuhuashan ignored the people below and fought with Zhao Hualien. He was holding a strange weapon, and his advantage was above Zhao Hualien, but unfortunately he was injured in his shoulder and could not go all out. So even if he tried his best, he could only maintain a tie. And at this moment, bang, a gunshot rang out. A bullet directly blasted the short blade that was spinning rapidly away. Lin Bin moved very quickly. As soon as the short blade fell to the ground, he rushed over and picked up the stone next to him to press on the short blade. Then he sat on the stone leisurely, aiming the Desert Eagle Shura in his hand at Yuhuashan. But Lin Bin was not in a hurry to attack, and said, I guess the reason why you are not in a hurry is that you have a backup plan. Your backup plan can't be that the palace maid who escaped is actually a fake, right? Her real identity is actually your spy. After all, the palace is under your control. You have the final say on how many people escaped. Whoever you say is a fugitive is a fugitive. Yuhuashan was calm, watching the short blade under the stone and the main blade attract each other, but they could not return because of the weight of an extra person on it. Although there was one less short blade, his martial arts were definitely not inferior to Zhao Hualien, but he was injured first and his weapon was controlled later, and he had gradually fallen into a disadvantage. If that's the case, no matter how many tricks Sister Ling has, I'm afraid she won't be able to stop the sneak attack from behind. But I still hope that you don't rely on this matter, because I already know about it. Lin Bin smiled and pressed down the last weight. Then he fired, aiming at the other spinning short blade. Bang! It missed. Chapter 47. Deng Yang, you dare to lie to me? Please read and recommend. Alas, my shooting skills are still not very good. For something like this, that moves at high speed, even within 20 meters, my hit rate is only a little over 30%. I was lucky just now, but I don't have that luck now. Lin Bin missed the target with one shot, but he didn't feel sorry. Facing such a high-speed expert, he wanted to be able to shoot through the target every time, after practicing for only 2 months. Obviously he was talking in his sleep. He pointed the gun directly at Yu Huashan, who was fighting fiercely, and said, but for such a large target, I shouldn't miss it. And you should have heard from Deng Yang about the power of my weapon. The closer the distance, the stronger the lethality of this gun. If it hits you at such a close distance, you will explode. Master Yu, no matter how high your King Gun is, can you be faster than the flying blade? Yu Huashan's pupils shrank slightly. He had seen this terrible weapon with his own eyes. Facing this kind of weapon, only by staring at it with full concentration, and then reacting immediately when the opponent's fingers move, or moving at high speed continuously, can you avoid this terrible killing? But with Zhao Huayan by his side, he had no time to stare at Lin Bin, nor could he move at high speed all the time. Especially when he was expressionless, he couldn't help but feel a sinking feeling in his heart when he heard Lin Bin talking about Su Hurang. That was indeed his current reliance. Su Hurang was strong and only inferior to him, and the big boss Ma Jinliang in the West Factory, Lin Yangqiu, was simply not a match for Su Hurang. But who knew that her identity was revealed in one word? At that moment, the sword force was indeed a bit chaotic. He was already injured, and he could barely hold on with the three-edged sword before, but now his mind was greatly distracted, and he was caught off guard, and was stabbed several times by Zhao Huayan. Lin Bin didn't make a move. He knew that the bullet that was not fired was the most terrible bullet. Especially the ammunition in the gun was limited. It must not be wasted. Even the factory owner was in a slump, and the many masters of the West Factory were obviously even more difficult to stop. At this time, 60 to 70% of them had been killed. And at this moment, the sound of horse hooves rang out in the distance. Everyone turned their heads to look at the distance at the same time, only to see two people riding together. The one sitting behind was Lin Yangqiu, and in front of her, wasn't Su Hurang tied up with ropes all over her body? Her expression was gloomy. With Lin Yangqiu's stern shout, all the eunuchs in the West Factory have been buried alive under the Longman Inn. Yu Huashan, you are doomed. Yu Huashan's face suddenly changed, and he realized that Lin Bin was not just playing tricks. He swept his sword across, and the sword energy swept away, forcing Zhao Huayan away, and leaped back to another tall building. Then he flew down with a flying blade, driving Zhao Huayan, who was chasing him, down. Su Hurang lowered her head in guilt and said, I'm sorry, Lord Governor, I was seen through. It doesn't matter. Even I was seen through. If he can't see through you, it would be a ghost. Although Yu Huashan was covered in blood, he was not panicked at all, and still held his head high, as if he was not the one surrounded, but he surrounded everyone alone. Seeing that Gu Xiaotang, Ha Gang, Chang Xiaoan and others were slowly coming over, they began to surround him. He looked down at Lin Bin and said, Lin Bin, do you think you have me? Lin Bin pressed another stone with his backhand to crush the flying blade. Then he stood up and asked, what else? Seeing Lin Bin's action, Yu Huashan couldn't help but twitched his eyebrows and said, but you are wrong about one thing. Su Hurang is just one of my trump cards. I still have a trump card that I haven't thrown out yet. Don't listen, you bastard. Lin Bin raised his gun and shot. Trump card? The trump card is the one that you can say, I won't give you a chance, and will kill you directly. Then I will win directly, and you will be a hidden gang. As long as you don't release it, it will be useless. But Yu Huashan's attention was all focused on Lin Bin. Seeing him raise his gun and shoot, he jumped to another roof. His movements were as fast as a ghost, and all the bullets were fired. He shouted, Jinliang, pull the man out. As soon as he finished speaking, a man with white hair and black armor strode out from a dark building in the post station. It was Ma Jinliang, the second best man in the West Factory. Behind him, 4 prisoners with ragged and scarred bodies were tied with iron chains. All four of them were disheveled, with marks of whips, burns, and clamps everywhere on their bodies, especially the one walking in front. He had one arm chopped off, and it was only hastily bandaged. Now he was staggering, looking like he only had 1/3 of his life left. There were 2 men and 2 women among the 4. The 2 men were wearing dirty white prison uniforms, and a lot of bright red blood could be clearly seen between their legs. Yuhu Ashen said calmly, "I'm sorry, my subordinates don't know the limits. They are all disabled people, so naturally they can't bear to see others intact. So before the torture, the women are fine, but the men will be castrated first." Fuck. At this time, Principal Gao and Wei Yang, who had already left Longmanin and were hiding in a low house in the distance to watch the fight, couldn't help but feel cold in their lower bodies. Fortunately, they chose Lin Bin. Otherwise, I'm afraid they would have ended up like these 2 people. Lin Bin's Desert Eagle Shura instinctively aimed at Ma Jinlian, but Ma Jinlian quickly hid behind the disabled man in the lead and then held the sword on the necks of the other 3. Even if Lin Bin shot him to death, the remaining force of his fall to the ground could wipe the necks of the 4 people. Who are these 4 guys? Chang Xiaoan said speechlessly. At least find someone reliable to threaten me. Even if you catch Fingerladeo to threaten me, you are better than these 4. Sorry, I never took you seriously. I only want to threaten one person. Yuhu Ashen said. Lin Bin, either the 4 of them die and you lose 900 reincarnation points, or you agree to my request and let me go with you to Beishang Kingdom to get the treasure. You rejected my invitation before, so now I invite you again. Do you agree? Zhao Huayan asked. Abin, they are my companions. Lin Bin's face suddenly became ugly. What kind of punishment did this bastard Deng Yang receive? He actually explained it so clearly. Even the 2 reincarnation tasks were explained clearly. 3 breaths, you choose. Yuhu Ashen said, the task of hiding the treasure of Beishang Kingdom is completed. The task of rescuing companions is successfully completed, and no one dies. In your words, it is called happy end. Or now I die here with the 4 of them, and you lose the extra subsidy. 3, 2, 1. I promise you. Lin Bin turned around and apologized. I'm sorry, Uncle Zhao, I can't let them die. The castrated dog is despicable, and there is nothing I can do. Zhao Huayan frowned and said, just you have to pay attention to safety. Don't worry, at this moment, I value his safety more than you do. Deng Yang is useless, and Lin Bin is my only hope. Yuhu Ashen pointed his sword at Lin Bin and said, now, throw away the gun, raise your hands, and walk over slowly, and you, Zhao Huayan, you all step back. Lin Bin did as he said, and threw the gun far away. Then he slowly walked towards Yuhu Ashen. Yuhu Ashen said, Lin Bin, you made the right choice. As he said, he put the sword on Lin Bin's neck. But the next moment, his arm was grabbed by someone, and the key entered his body and attacked him. He met a pair of shining eyes. Damn. Yuhu Ashen's heart sank, and the first thing that emerged in his heart was hatred for Deng Yang. Hateful. Didn't he say that this kid was just an ordinary person who didn't know martial arts at all, had no reincarnation experience, and was even worse than him? He actually lied to me. Chapter 48. Killing, reincarnation, and touching the corpse. The process cannot be missed. Yuhu Ashen did get everything out of Deng Yang's mouth. As a professional interrogator, he asked all the information he wanted to know, so that when he talked to Lin Bin, all kinds of professional terms came out of his mouth without any flaws. Even though Lin Bin and Beiji were modern people, they didn't feel the slightest sense of disobedience. In Deng Yang's mouth, Lin Bin was just an ordinary person. Although he was a reincarnationist, he had not undergone any enhancement. Even because he changed his career halfway, he didn't even have some of the most basic abilities. Therefore, even if he was surrounded now, as long as he could contain Lin Bin, then there would still be hope of success. But who knew that when the 2 of them put their hands together, Yuhu Ashen immediately sensed an extremely long internal ki attacking his body. His heart sank immediately. He knew that he had indeed underestimated the reincarnationist. This Deng Yang seemed to be tortured by him and cried a lot, and he honestly explained everything. But the most critical point, he still kept it secret. This Lin Bin is not an ordinary person at all. The thought just fell. While Yu Huashan was restrained by his true ki and could not move temporarily, Lin Bin stomped his right foot on the ground 3 times like lightning. He muttered something in his mouth, and his body suddenly expanded. The true ki also increased greatly. Yu Huashan's wrist holding the sword felt like it was electrocuted, and his arms, chest, waist and abdomen were hit one after another. Grasping the sparrow's tail, single whip, lifting hands upwards, white crane spreading wings. The summoning technique can make a person extremely powerful and sweep through thousands of troops. But now with the blessing of Lin Bin's eternal life secret, he has evolved it into a move that is almost like the heavenly demon disintegration method, and the advantage is probably, although the power is not as strong, the backlash is far less serious than the heavenly demon disintegration method. True ki, strength, and speed increased dramatically. Performing Teikai again will be more smooth and satisfactory. The Chinese martial arts Teikai does not have as many artistic conceptions and mysteries as the martial arts Teikai. It is just a simple fighting technique. Every posture is to hit the enemy faster and harder. If there is a blessing of true ki, the Chinese martial arts Teikai is far less profound and difficult to defend against than Teikai. But without the blessing of true ki, the Chinese martial arts Teikai can easily kill a strong man in the hands of ordinary people, and the lethality is far greater than that of Teikai. On the contrary, Teikai has become a health-preserving boxing. But what if there is a Chinese martial art with the blessing of true ki? Although the eternal life secret has only been newly practiced for more than 2 months, it circulates day and night. The excessive spiritual energy has already made Lin Bin's true ki ready. Now at the critical moment, he bursts out the art of descending spirits and raises himself to the limit. He immediately caught the enemy off guard. Lin Bin's attack was unreserved, fast, steady, accurate, and ruthless. As soon as Yu Huashan was hit, he was like being entangled in a fist and palm net. Bang, 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 bang. In this dusty desert, Lin Bin's internal strength was all transformed into earth-attributed ki, which was even more lethal. He even heard the sound of Yu Huashan's ribs being broken. Abin, be careful. Zhao Huaiyan behind him saw such a good opportunity and leaped between Lin Bin and Yu Huashan without hesitation. The sword blade was between the two of them. Lin Bin roared and dragged Yu Huashan forward 2 steps. Yu Huashan's feet were rooted in the earth, but how could he pull Lin Bin, who was in the state of divine descent? He staggered a few steps and was dragged away. His throat was immediately cut by the sword blade, as fast as a rabbit, from him grabbing Lin Bin, to Lin Bin counter-attacking and seriously injuring Yu Huashan, to borrowing Zhao Huaiyan's sword to kill Yu Huashan. It took only 2 or 3 seconds, and even made everyone unable to react. In just a moment, Yu Huashan's throat had been cut open, and he fell to the ground helplessly. At this moment, he was still staring at Deng Yang, who had been tortured by him, and was in a dilemma of life and death. Obviously, he didn't expect that he had been wise all his life, but in the end he was tricked by a prisoner. The cold eyes scared Deng Yang and he shuddered. He had already had a psychological shadow on Yu Huashan. Superintendent, Ma Jinliang shouted angrily, I will make sure you get nothing. He turned around and was about to kill several people under his sword, but at this moment, there was a loud bang. Ma Jinliang was shot in the shoulder, and a huge gap was blasted out of his shoulder. The huge impact made him stagger back 2 steps, and then he was shot into a sieve by several darts. Gu Xiaotang put down the remaining hidden weapons in his hand, and looked at the house in the distance in shock. That was where Lin Bin threw the gun, and at this time through the window, a figure was holding a gun, and it was obviously him who just shot. Wen Yang held the Desert Eagle Shura, and said in surprise, I actually hit the target on my first pistol shot. Is my accuracy so high? Su Hurang next to him closed her eyes in pain, as if she didn't dare to look anymore. It's finally over. This eunuch has done so many evil things. Killing him today is really a great pleasure in life. Zhao Huaiyan slowly wiped the blood off the sword and asked casually, by the way, Abin, he wanted to threaten you to follow him into the treasure of Beishang country. Why? I don't know much, and he didn't tell me in detail, just said it was for treatment. Lin Bin vaguely guessed the reason. A proud man with strong strength and meticulous mind can never get rid of the name of a eunuch. When you suddenly know that there may be a chance to reconnect your broken limbs, I'm afraid you can't help but have expectations, right? but the person is dead. There is no need to talk about it anymore. He turned his head and looked into the distance, saying, "The wind is blowing." Everyone looked in the direction of his gaze and saw the black desert in the distance beginning to spread. "The black sandstorm has come," Gu Xiaotang muttered, and then he kicked Feng Lidao fiercely in anger, saying angrily, "Do you know what we gave up for you? Now it's good. No one can get the treasure of Beishang country. It's you who can't get it." Lin Bin looked at the fallen Yu Huashan, bent down, took the three-bladed sword from his hand, and then carefully pinched out the flying blade that was pressed under the stone next to it, put it in the main blade, and immediately absorbed it automatically. The three swords merged into one, and the blades were sharp and cold. It seemed that it was a good sword. In fact, this sword is indeed unparalleled. Yu Huashan's strength is comparable to Zhao Hualian, but with the help of this sword, Zhao Hualian couldn't raise his head. Even in the plot, if Zhao Hualian hadn't used the huge turbulence of the sandstorm to destroy the power of the flying blade, I'm afraid that the result of that battle would most likely be Zhao Hualian's defeat. Such a good weapon, don't miss it. After taking the weapon, he took out the golden money sword from his bosom and stabbed it into Yu Huashan's chest, penetrating deep into his bones. Zhao Hualian asked, "Abin, what are you doing?" "Nothing, but I saw that he had a lot of resentment when he died. What if he turned into a ghost? My golden money sword is a sharp weapon for exorcising demons. Being stabbed by this sword is equivalent to being saved 80 times. There is no way he can turn into a ghost." Lin Bin said, "I'm just in case." After saying that, he slowly stood up. Just now, he had a close fight with Yu Huashan. It seemed that he performed Teikai fiercely, but in fact, it was the first time he had a close fight with someone. If Zhao Hualian hadn't rushed in quickly, the situation between the two might have been reversed. At this moment, he couldn't help but feel a little scared, especially when the effect of the divine descent technique ended. He also felt an unspeakable fatigue. He turned his head and looked at Gu Xiaotang and others who looked indignant. Lin Bin said, "Don't forget what you promised me. You would give up the Beishang Kingdom treasure for Feng Lidao. Now the treasure has nothing to do with you. Don't worry, we won't regret it. It's useless to regret it." Chang Xiaoan sneered, "It's too late. Under the black sandstorm, we can't get close to the treasure at all. After the black sandstorm is over, although the treasure will appear, another storm will blow up in an hour and bury the treasure. Our previous plan was to use this hour to move as much treasure as possible out and take as much as we can. But now, we are more than 50 miles away from Longmanin. Even if we wait for the sandstorm to pass and rush there at full speed, I'm afraid we will be buried again as soon as we get in. If we want to get out again, we will have to wait for 60 years. It's too late to move the gold." Lin Bin said, "That is to say, after the sandstorm is over, we will rush there immediately and still have time to enter the treasure." "What?" Lin Bin said seriously, "What I want is not the gold in the treasure, so even if I die, I must go in." Zhao Hualian explained, "In fact, what Abin wants is to cut off the dragon vein inside." He began to explain to everyone about luck, dragon veins and other issues. Everyone was stunned, looking at Lin Bin, as if he was looking at a ghost. In order to cut off the dragon vein, even if he knew that he would be sealed in the treasure, he insisted on going. No wonder Lion Yu Huashan also died in his hands. This person's obsession is so terrifying. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. This time I will never come back. Seeking follow-up recommendation and monthly ticket support. The black sandstorm hit. Even the post station dozens of miles away was affected, and everyone hid in the house. After the reunion, Beiji, Principal Gao and others began to help Jiangqing and Li Jing treat their wounds. Deng Yang was the most seriously injured. He was almost hanging on with one breath. In the end, it was Chang Xiaoan who felt sorry for him and sent him a medicine, which saved his life. But now he was facing Lin Bin, who was only one step away from completing the task and had even become the leader of everyone present in just a few days. He became a prisoner just after entering the reincarnation space, and the difficulty of the secret realm was greatly increased. Deng Yang lowered his head with a complicated expression. There were many thoughts in his mind. I'm afraid he didn't even know what he was thinking. I'm afraid he wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Facing this opponent who was not compatible with him before, seeing his miserable appearance now, Lin Bin couldn't say anything to gloat. But a strange thought suddenly emerged in his mind. Maybe it would be a better choice for him to die in the dungeon. And while he was bandaging his wounds, Deng Yang asked in a low voice, after the storm is over, are you going to take them to find the treasure? Lin Bin nodded and said, yes, that's right. When leaving the secret realm, a space-time rift will appear. Now the treasure is only a few dozen miles away from us. There is no obstacle in the middle. After we enter the treasure, even if the treasure is closed, it will have no effect on us. Can I ask you for a favor? You say? Deng Yang hesitated for a moment, but still plucked up the courage to say, you take the 7 of them back. I won't go back. Lin Bin was stunned for a moment and asked, what? Deng Yang smiled bitterly. From childhood to adulthood, I have always been the pride of my parents, but this time in the secret realm, not only did I not make any contribution, but I also leaked the secrets of the secret realm, and became a useless person. If I go back, not only will I be punished, but my parents will also be implicated. Their business is based on my identity as a reincarnation. In this case, it is better to stay here, and let them mistakenly think that I have died in the secret realm. Lin Bin frowned and said, you want to stay in the secret realm? Forever? Deng Yang pleaded, I know there were some unpleasant things between us before, but that was just healthy competition between fellow reincarnationists. I never wanted to kill you, nor did I want to deal with you. We don't have any principled conflicts, right? In the room over there are still my 200,000 yuan. I'm willing to give you this money as well, just asking you to help me. You are not an orthodox reincarnationist and don't understand the rules here. Once I'm punished and leave a bad record, our family's business will be over. By then, I will be destitute in the real world. Compared to that, it is better to linger in this world. At least, my parents will not be laughed at. Okay, I promise you. Lin Bin nodded and said, there are still a few hours before the storm ends. I will ask you again before I leave. If you don't change your mind, I will leave you here, but don't worry, I will ask Uncle Zhao to take good care of you. Thank you very much. Deng Yang's face was gloomy, and he closed his eyes, as if he was embarrassed to face Lin Bin again. After the injuries of the 4 people were treated, Lin Bin came to the place where Feng Lidao and Zhao Huayan were resting. Zhao Huayan asked with concern, Abin, are you really determined to go? Uncle Zhao, you are willing to sacrifice yourself to kill Yu Huashan, so why should I be afraid of my own life? Lin Bin nodded seriously. Alas, you have grown up and made your own decisions, but I'm old and have become indecisive. Zhao Huayan patted Lin Bin's shoulder with relief and smiled. If I were 20 years older, I would have to stop you, even if I had to use force. But now, I support you. Thank you, Uncle Zhao. Lin Bin nodded and turned to look at Feng Lidao. Thank you for saving my life. Feng Lidao stepped forward a little timidly. He was a little scared of this man who easily killed Yu Huashan. Lin Bin asked with a smile, Brother Feng, there is a great opportunity. I wonder if you are willing to take it? What opportunity? The enemies left here are almost dead. Although Su Hurang is not dead, she is destined not to return to the West Factory. You look exactly like Yu Huashan. As long as you imitate his demeanor a little, you may be able to dominate the court with his identity. Lin Bin smiled and said, as long as you get rid of concubine one who knows Yu Huashan best, then no one will be able to find the flaw in your identity. You can perfectly inherit everything from Yu Huashan and become the only eunuch with a penis in the palace. It's exciting to think about a fake eunuch breaking into the deep palace, right? Oh. Feng Lidao's eyes lit up instantly. He said in surprise, why didn't I think of this possibility? This can also be regarded as an apology for taking away your treasure map. Lin Bin smiled. He thought that, since this secret realm has appeared, it will either be completely closed by the reincarnations in the future, or gradually integrated into the main world one day in the future. If it is one, it will be easy to say. But if it is the second one, isn't Feng Lideo's move equivalent to a hidden chess move I made in advance? Anyway, it's just a casual reminder. If he calms down, he can think about it carefully. It won't hurt to tell him by himself. Seeing the extremely excited Feng Lideo quickly running back to discuss this matter with his companions, Lin Bin looked out the window. There, the black sandstorm was raging. 2 hours later, the remaining power of the black sandstorm gradually dissipated. Although it was dozens of miles away, it seemed that golden light could be seen in the distance. Lin Bin went to the room alone to confirm with Deng Yang. When he left, no one noticed that he had a small suitcase in his hand. Everyone, the mountains and rivers remain unchanged. Goodbye. Lin Bin clasped his fists and said goodbye, then turned to look at Wei Yang, who was saying goodbye to his amateur sister, who was tied up like a dumpling, and frowned. Old Wei, I'm leaving. Oh, okay. Wei Yang sighed. Amateur sister, I didn't expect you to have the attributes of a female spy. It's a pity that you and I are destined not to be together. Otherwise, you can just polish your mirror with sisterling. Why go to the West Factory and mix with those psychopathic hermaphrodites? Forget it, think it through yourself. Let's go. Li Jing hesitated. Then, aren't you taking Deng Yang with you? After we get out, say that Deng Yang has died in the secret realm. He leaked the secrets of the Chinese country in the secret realm, and he will be punished when he gets out. Maybe he can be an ordinary person if he is left here. Lin Bin said, this is also for his own good. I have obtained his consent, and I hope you all respect him. Jiang Qing frowned coldly. Respect? If it weren't for him, he wouldn't have become a eunuch now. Is this culprit worthy of respect? He looked at Lin Bin timidly. But in some ways, this is more terrifying than the Yuhu Arshan who tortured them. Especially the leak of secrets. They are also responsible. At the moment, he could only nod his head honestly. Let's go. Sit tight. Lin Bin, with a three-bladed sword on his waist, led everyone on horseback and galloped towards the black sandstorm that had just ended. 2 hours, a distance of 50 miles. In addition, we have to find the entrance to the passage, so time is still very tight. But this time, we will never come back. Fortunately, the principal and others have developed extremely rich experience in riding camels during this period of time, and they can also ride horses. One person leads one person. Lin Bin rode alone and gradually disappeared in the depths of the sandstorm under the reluctant gaze of Zhao Huayan and others. Chapter 50 S-Level Evaluation, Rich Harvest. An hour later. The mission has been completed. Do you want to return for settlement? Lin Bin chose yes. Secret Realm Mission. Obtain the treasure of Beishang country. Completion reward. 1500 reincarnation points, 1 seal level merit. Task time limit, none. The mission has been completed, and the reward is being settled. Secret Realm Mission Evaluation, S-Level. You have completed the mission in excess, and you will receive 200% of the reincarnation point reward for this mission, and you will receive 2 C-level merits and 3000 reincarnation points. Secret Realm Mission 2. Protect the citizens of Huaguo from harm by aliens. Completion reward. When the Secret Realm Mission 1 is completed, you will receive an additional 300 reincarnation points for each additional citizen who survives. The mission has been completed, and the contribution is being settled. You successfully rescued 7 innocent Chinese citizens from crisis, and received 2100 reincarnation points. Obtained the C-level Secret Realm Weapon Triple Blade. Do you want to spend 500 reincarnation points to bring it back to the world? If you choose no, you can exchange it for 300 reincarnation points. 3-edged sword, C-level Secret Realm Weapon. The sword blade is hollowed out, with flying blades inlaid inside. 2 flying blades can be swung out to attack the enemy while shaking. It is extremely sharp and hard to defend against. Obtain a D-level Secret Realm Weapon, a short dagger. Do you want to spend 200 reincarnation points to bring it back to the real world? If you choose no, you can exchange it for 150 reincarnation points. Short dagger, D-level Secret Realm Weapon. It can cut iron like mud, and it is the best weapon for self-defense. It exploded, a big explosion, and double the experience. No, if you count the rewards given by the Lei Bureau. Lin Bin can no longer imagine what rewards he can get. The previous A level was so cool, and now the S level is naturally even cooler. According to Lin Bin's speculation, the reason why he was able to get an S level evaluation should be that there was no aboriginal alien who entered the treasure, but all of them were his people. If Gu Xiaotang and the others also came in, there is no doubt that the evaluation would at least drop by 1 level. And Yu Huashan. Although he died under Zhao Huayan's sword, it was Lin Bin himself who pulled him towards the blade. In other words, Yu Huashan was also judged to have died in his hands. From this point of view, the difficulty of obtaining an S-level evaluation may be higher than imagined. Moreover, 7 citizens. Doesn't this mean that the reincarnation space has judged Deng Yang as an ordinary person? Lin Bin muttered to himself, thinking, is this a punishment? He lost his identity as a reincarnationist. Lin Bin suddenly changed his mind, thinking, I don't know if I will be seen through if I just say he is dead. Forget it, I will ask Director Lei first. It's okay to help others, but it's not worth it to sacrifice myself. 3-bladed sword and dagger. He chose to exchange without hesitation. This was some common sense that Deng Yang told him after seeing the 3-bladed sword on his waist. Of course, it was the reincarnationist in the extraordinary realm who told Deng Yang, if you directly choose no, you can indeed exchange for reincarnation points. But as long as it is similar, if you spend reincarnation points to exchange it and then sell it in the trading area, the selling price is basically much higher than the recycling price. I have to mention that Lin Bin is indeed a kind person. Deng Yang ignored him before, and he didn't want to take him with him, even if he had benefits. But now that Deng Yang pleaded with him, he began to reflect on his mistakes. Indeed, he was also wrong. Suddenly he came to a strange world, and he began to make decisions without hesitation, although he knew the plot. But others don't know, and others will only think that he is arbitrary. Disagreement is inevitable. It seems that, if you have teammates in the future, you have to pay attention to this aspect. Lin Bin made a decision silently. Let me be frank in advance. If you don't listen to me, I won't cooperate with you. It can't be like today. Fortunately, these 4 people didn't die, otherwise the loss would be too great. Reincarnation, Abin, level, apprentice qualifications. 1 experience in clearing the slaughter level secret realm independently, rating, A. 1 experience in clearing the adventure level secret realm independently, rating, S. The first 3 items are visible to all reincarnations, merits. 4 C level merits, reincarnation points. 5,500 points, weapons, B level weapon golden money sword, C level weapon triple blade sword, D level ranged weapon desert eagle shura, D level melee weapon short dagger, enhancement, none, skills, eternal life secret B level, skills, divine descent technique, items, D level item compass, for an apprentice reincarnation. These are almost luxurious data. And as the task was settled, in front of Lin Bin, a crack suddenly appeared. Lin Bin said, let's go. Where to go? Beiji looked confused. The others were also confused. They couldn't see the crack. Lin Bin suddenly remembered that when he and Zhao Tong entered the secret realm, it seemed that no one else could see the crack. He thought for a moment and said, come and hold my hand. Several people came forward, and Beiji took the lead and held Lin Bin's hand. Hui, who was standing next to him, also wanted to come forward, but when Yang snorted and put his hand directly on his shoulder, smiling, I feel that this is more intimate. I saw the entrance. Strange, I saw it directly before. Why do I have to stand next to you to see it now? Let's go in. Lin Bin took the hand and sent everyone in one by one. When he was the only one left, he thought about it, hugged a handful of gold, and quietly put it in his pocket, thinking that he didn't know if this copy would appear directly in this treasure house when he came back in the future. If so, wouldn't I be rich? Step in. The system prompt sounded in his ears. Obtained the gradeless secret realm gold. Do you want to spend 200 reincarnation points to bring it back to the world? TSK. You really don't give me any chance to take advantage of the situation. Can't I exchange low-grade items for reincarnation points? Lin Bin complained, threw away the gold, and walked out as well. Then, he was completely surrounded by a group of burning eyes. Abin. With a sharp shout, a familiar figure strode over. Isn't it Raymond? He immediately grabbed Lin Bin's shoulders tightly, looked him up and down for a while, and only breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that he was not injured. He asked, 6 ordinary people, you actually brought all of them back and got an S-level evaluation. Good boy, although this time it is only adventure level, but with so many burdens, you can get such a high evaluation. This S-level evaluation is more valuable than the previous zombie secret realm. Abin, you really surprised me. Come on, check your body in case there is any hidden injury so that you can deal with it as soon as possible. As he said, he clamped Lin Bin with one arm, pressed him down on the single rack, and then praised, good boy, good boy. Obviously, he felt the weak, but pure true energy in Lin Bin's body. The secret of immortality really made this kid famous. At this time, the other 6 survivors who returned together also received physical examinations. Among them, Hui was the most cooperative, or she was admitted as a logistics worker by exception, so she was naturally familiar with these jobs. Just looking at the extraordinary status of Raymond, he paid so much attention to Lin Bin. Looking at the dozens of staff around, they looked at Lin Bin with incredible shock and shock. A person who only had one training experience. He actually got an S-level rating in the adventure realm with 6 people as burdens. This is simply, if I really enter the Samsara Association in the future and encounter this kind of situation, I'm afraid I can't help but look at this person with admiration, right? Hui suddenly felt a little regretful, annoyed that she shouldn't be too superficial. Even if they couldn't be lovers, she shouldn't be cold to him. If he could help me, maybe I could climb to a higher position in the future? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.